plunge?
We didn't get the 5 seconds yet? I thought we had to do the 5 seconds.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back to the Before the Tones Drop podcast. This is episode whatever. If you have been with us for our normal episodes, today will be an abnormal episode. If you don't like listening to Devan, Ben, Phil, and now Ryan talk, go ahead and turn us off. We don't have a guest today. Well, we kind of do. We have like a guest light. We have Ryan Baker, which is our producer. He's going to fill in the fourth seat. But we, unfortunately had a cancellation. Ed Voloshin was supposed to be on. We will have him on in the future. Unfortunately, he had to get to a family emergency, so condolences to Ed and Carol. But we will get him on in the near future. We're really excited about listening to him talk. So you get us today, and you're stuck with whatever we want to talk about, which could be intelligent, could be unintelligent. I'm not really sure.
Unintelligible, right? Unintelligible. Is that a word? Unintelligible instead of also unintelligent.
And
all of it.
We also thought it'd be a great time to take a few minutes just talk about ourselves and kind of our story to get into where we are today. We do it with all of our guests, but we haven't really taken time to get to know some of the hosts on the show. And we'll just go take a brief few minutes. Phil, you wanna go?
So what do we want? We kind of want to talk about like how we got here.
Yeah, just kind of like a brief how you got here, what made you get in the fire service, and then
it was a
what brought
cold
you down
October
to
night, 1980. No,
I only have 4 hours, so I can't be.
Yeah, no, I mean,
5
I'll
minutes.
keep it brief. Okay, so growing up, so this is a growing up story. So growing up, living in northern Minnesota, we literally lived down the street from a main run for the ambulance, fire, police, and stuff. Is just down the street. So anytime when sirens would go, I'll be outside playing because I was an outside kid. Be outside in the yard, and I would go and take off running and watch fire engine, ambulance, and stuff go down all the time. And so I was always like, that to me was always a really cool thing. And then as you get a little bit older, school tours and stuff and open house. So the fire service to me, just being a firefighter was always something that was kind of something I wanted to do ever since I was little. I chose a career path for myself, and I feel like I received a hard course correction by what I was meant to be doing or supposed to be doing. So I got into the ambulance, I got my EMT in high school. I was on ski patrol. I've been doing EMS even since Boy Scouts kind of stuff. But got into got my course corrected for me, and then got into the fire service. I had a buddy I worked my partner on the ambulance and stuff that we worked together. He was a big volunteer firefighter, and him and I had huge aspirations of going to New York and being FDNY. We were the guys wearing the pagers on the, wearing the fire T-shirts every day and lots of stickers and the pagers and everything else, and aspirations going FDNY, and realized that wasn't a thing. Again, I found Sioux City was the closest to home at the time that was taking jobs for the fires. So I wanted to be a paramedic in my hometown. That wasn't going to work out just because the curriculum and stuff with the school. Needed a job. Decided to look for just fire without having to be a paramedic, and that's Sioux City was close to home. Literally found it on dial-up internet, and tested in 01, I think is when I took the test, and was hired in 02, and that's kind of all she wrote. But like I said, I to find Sioux City, 600 miles from home, getting down here, and then my family now and roots, getting hired with my brother-in-law, who was like, so if anybody knows, so my brother-in-law is on our shift on the job with me. Our wives are sisters. Mm-hmm. So that's through getting hired with him and met my wife, and that was, again, that's 21 years, August 5th. So I feel like where I'm at now, this was what I was meant to do. I was always supposed to do this. I tried to do something else, and I got, like I said, a hard course correction, and I'm where I'm supposed to be, and still loving every minute of it, every day.
Perfect. And you've been hazmat most of your career.
I have, she's assigned to hazmat since, I can't even tell you when anymore, but probably close to 15. It's got to be 15 years assigned to hazmat, getting close to that. So so if I go, like, your probation year, you're not a tech, then you get your tech right away.
Yep.
And then basically I was decertified the only time when I got to be a third man on the truck, and then for a year, and then went out to hazmat again. So maybe 2 years out of my whole career that I wasn't a hazmat tech, because all your years floating and stuff, and then assigned to hazmat most of that. And so Yeah, vast majority of my career.
Nice. And then, you were driving Engine 4, Lieutenant Engine 4, and now Captain out at
Station 8. Yep, staying in hazmat. And,
under construction at the moment. Finally got a sink back in.
Yep, and we got ceiling going in today. They're working hard on ceiling. Our lockers are going in today as we speak, and she's going to come together real quick. It's going to be. I know. Everybody's looking forward to the construction being done and just being able to go to work and just be there and just be in it, And it's going to be. And then we got some cleaning, some shuffling around, and it's going to be. I tell you what, I think just the station and stuff and everything. I think it's going to be the place where people want to go. Floaters going to like coming out there. It's. Just the layout, everything is going to be big. It's big, wide open. It's going to feel clean, bright, new. Our workout room alone is worth coming out. It's going to be going to be like we're going to charge like memberships for off-duty guys to come to use our weight room because it's going to be really nice, really nice. Yeah.
Awesome. The man behind the camera, our producer Ryan Baker, face for radio. What do we have for time on Phil, by the way?
We have 44 seconds left.
44.
That's pretty good.
Is
Because
that
I have
good?
a feeling like I'm going to run long now.
That was 44
After talking all the
minutes.
trash before this, I'm like, there's no way we're keeping him to 4 minutes.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to Devan and Ben and Bill for letting me sit here today.
Fire Marshal Bill.
So my story,
Let me show you something.
How long did you work with Phil?
for about 3 years. I was there for 4 years, but worked with you for 3 years.
Longest 3 years of your life. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's your story.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I joined the Guard right out of high school. I kind of wanted to be a cop my entire life, but I went down, and my cousin was a recruiter down there. I was going to go to college, and he said, "You're going to join the Guard because it'll pay for your college." I said, "Okay." I said, "What do I do?" He said, "You're going to join the fire department." I said, "Okay." So this would have been June of 2001. So I went to basic and then went to college for computer programming. And then I came back and went to tech school. And then I got hired on full-time at the base. I worked down there for 8 years. Still kind of looked into being a cop. I had a deployment in 2007 to Baghdad, Iraq. We were fairly busy. Talked to a couple other guys from the East Coast, Boston area that were firefighters, and they said, go out, get your EMT, and try to get on a city department. So did that, then applied with Sioux City, got hired in 2012. I was a fourth on Truck 1. I did 4 years on Engine 4, and I've been on Engine 3 now for a little over a year.
Driving
Cool,
Engine
man.
3.
Driving Engine 3.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. How many tours you got? How many tours you got in the Guard?
3 long ones, Baghdad, Iraq, and then I went to Kuwait City, Kuwait, and then Agadez, Niger, and then a short one to Pristina, Kosovo.
Oh, very nice.
So
That's 22 years in the Guard?
Yep, just a little over 22.
Wow.
Awesome. Good for you. Ship?
Long, healthy career. Well, long family history of fire service. The age-old, this is all I wanted to do since I've been a little kid, and hung around the firehouse with Dad and Grandpa. That's basically buffing my whole life, living in a firehouse, being a firehouse rat with my dad. And between Lamar's and Spencer, I joined the support operations staff in Spencer when I was 16 as soon as I could, so I got to carry a pager in school and respond as a support operator. And I had a few buddies of mine that did that, so we'd haul balls with the blue light on in the pickup truck, leaving math class. I got a call,
Yeah.
So we had reserved parking at high school, so it was
Nice.
big time. It was the real deal. We were doing it, or so we thought. No, but we got to go to fires, help the guys pick up, take up, be gophers. Made hydrants sometimes on fires, so you got a little bit in the warm zone, nothing hot. From there, my dad was a state investigator for the state of Iowa for a long time, so he'd had relationships with some of the people down here, like ASOP, Assistant Chief Robinson, guys like that. Just
That's
coming
what he was doing when I got on and stuff. And
Yeah.
he was like the coolest guy when he would come in because he's like,
So he thinks.
especially
So
with
he
the
says,
bomb stuff and everything like that. And he'd be like, oh yeah, and he's like, and he'd be talking, I just. I could get there, because he's like 100 mile an hour everywhere I go. It's like I mean, he was, he was pretty cool when he come to town.
So Grandpa was chief in Lamar's. Grandpa retired. We moved from Spencer to Lamar's because my dad retired from the state fire investigator's job and took the fire chief position in Lamar's, or was awarded the fire chief position in Lamar's. So we moved my senior year, which was kind of difficult, but I looked at it as a new opportunity and a new department to work with. They did things differently. You know how we all do the same kind of job, volunteer career, but all do it a different way to accomplish the same goals. But so I joined the support operations staff in Lamar's. At the time they had a high school program, so I got to do that again. Didn't leave as much school during that time because I was really trying to just get my stuff done so I could go to the next step and go to college. So after high school, I went to Iowa Central in Fort Dodge for fire science. Did my EMT, came back and volunteered on the summers and worked my food service job, which if you didn't work a job before this, I was fortunate enough to get hired, really young. So I got hired in Fort Dodge at 20. I took that test, after taking the test here, and that gave me really good experience. That's an old river town, and they run a lot of fires, and it's cool. It just diving both feet in, just getting to it, getting to work, and loving the job. And it was actually really hard to take this job, but this is where I wanted to be. Since I was a kid, I grew up Lieutenant Fox. He was really close with my family. My grandparents basically raised him because he unfortunately lost his parents really young. And I saw him on the job here, and I was like, man, I want to be in Sioux City. That's where Fox is, dude, he's doing it. He's doing it for real, and it's close to home. Yeah. And it's like the dream. So I'm blessed. My whole life I've been blessed by role models, influences in the fire service. Been around it my whole life, and fortunate to call myself a Sioux City firefighter now. So that's where I'm at. That's a little short version for you. So.
Nice.
So you got, because you got just the one, right? Or no, you got your one little guy.
One little guy right now.
So is that kind of, I guess, going forward? I mean, you don't want to necessarily. I mean, if you push him to that,
I was never pushed. No. My dad said, "You do whatever you want."
Yeah,
but he was my hero. My grandpa was my hero.
Yeah.
Backdraft. I'm wearing a shirt right now. I'm wearing the shirts. I've been my whole life. It's just seeing that and seeing my dad's and watching videos of my dad's at fires, because buffs would come to fires. So we lived in Red Oak when I was a kid. He was on the department there while he was an investigator down there, and there's videos of him going in and making grabs on our VHS, and I would be 6 years old sitting in the living room watching. It's that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. That is what I'm gonna do right there. And so that's just been enamored with it my whole life, and I'm obsessed with it still, and hopefully will be the rest of my life.
That's awesome. We need more. I need to see more duck parades though on the snap.
Okay, we can work on that.
I love the duck parade.
Oh man, yeah, he loves them. I love them.
Yeah, because how old's your little guy now?
Just under 2.
Under 2.
Yeah, just turned 21 months this month. So.
Awesome. He's getting big.
Yes.
He's something.
Well, he's got.
They get bigger every time you come home from work. You guys can attest to it. And you'll know someday. It's like you come. I just worked OT at 5s yesterday, and I come home, and I was able to see him this morning. And I'm like, what are you doing? Slow down. It's just crazy. But
big quick.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's how my old man felt, because he was gone all the time. Traveling. He covered 20 counties as an investigator and a bomb technician, so it's he was gone all the time.
Yeah,
but I'm sure he felt the same way. But
yeah,
Benjamin.
Yeah, I had a good. So I grew up in Merrill, Iowa, just north of town, 800 people. Maybe that's a exaggeration, 800. But I had a good buddy of mine that's asked, hey, fire chief in town wants us to join the fire department. They're hurting for guys. I had nothing better to do, and kind of got started there. Realized that was pretty fun. I was going to go to school, be a teacher or something, I guess. I didn't really have a course I thought I was going to be on, and so I figured that sounded like a good idea. Did a ride along for a senior class. Rode along at Station 1 day, and I was sold immediately. I was like, this is. I felt like they didn't work. I was just kind of well, you guys just kind of show up and hang out and eat and go do some stuff and go on. Calls weren't work, right? Because calls were exciting and fun. So I'm this seems like a cheat code. I gotta get in on this gig. So I did that, and then one of the recruiters was in school one day, and I wanted to join the 185th. I was going to be a firefighter in the 185th. I thought it'd be perfect. I said, they'll pay for all my schooling. I'll go get all my certifications. Chief Everett will be calling me to hire me, when I'm done there, right?
And we really missed out.
Yeah, exactly. And it was an Army recruiter that was there, and he's like, well, I'm not in the 185th, but I can. He gave me another sales pitch about being a medic, so signed up, sold my soul to the Army. Went and became a medic, got home from that, and then I remember when I graduated basic training, like I said, my mom brought this like newspaper clipping of like Sioux City Fire hiring. She knew that's what I wanted to do, and I don't know, there was like 3 days left, so I threw an application in online at like some Holiday Inn in South Carolina, and they sent me the test. I took it, and I just consider myself really lucky because it was kind of a one-time thing. Got hired, and everything worked out right with like the EMS division coming over because I worked on there for a bit, and yeah, it's just been good to me ever since. I came on young. I didn't really go to like college. I lived with my parents until this job. I worked at Godfather's Pizza, did the Army, and this. It's funny. I bet Godfather's Pizza was the most dangerous job of all three of them. 'Cause they'd send you on deliveries in like a blizzard with a Prius that weighed 48 pounds.
Yeah, now you're just driving
Yeah.
22-ton vehicles in the blizzards.
Oh,
But Godfather's, I'm sure, is way more dangerous.
Well, and you had
I felt it was.
well, and then you had a few deployments because EMS because you were EMS division for like 4 months.
Yeah, not
before
long.
before you got hired across, then probation, and then right after probation, right? Is when you had your long
I
deployment.
floated for a year, and then our unit got sent to Somalia. We were in Somalia for about 7 months. So we had like a pre-mob. We were in Somalia for 7 months, and then we kind of got pulled out of there, went to a few other countries, and then came home. So yeah, I spent a year deployed, and then that was 2 years ago. Which is crazy to think about. I just hit over 5 years with Sioux City Fire. It's gone by really quick, and
Yeah, super quick.
I grew up like doing this now. Like I started when I was 20. I was still a kid, and so I learned everything. I remember Chief Kelleher, who was like my lieutenant on probation, and he pulled out like a hammer from the toolbox, and he broke it down Barney style because that's like how clueless I was with some of that stuff. And he was cool about it and everything. He was just like, "This is a crescent wrench. This is vice grips," and I didn't know any of this stuff, right? Because if I helped my dad out, he'd just throw stuff at me and get
you were holding the light.
So you know,
exactly. I couldn't even do that right.
There was actually a post I just read, and all of a sudden it was almost like a light went off in my head because we talk about the new generation and the things that they're capable of, and we focus so much on the questions that they're going to ask and stuff, and that we almost feel like I think older generation feel like that it's kind of insulting a little bit because they're asking, and it's not so much that they're questioning why you're doing something, they just want to understand
They need to
it.
know the why.
But it's and we focus on that and we talk about that a lot, but this is what we don't talk about, right? Is how many of them don't. Like, I mean, that's one of those things, like my kid who's like crazy smart and is he's going to go to Iowa Central and stuff and pursue a degree in data sciences and stuff. So I mean, math heavy, all this stuff. But I mean, are there certain things that he can do? Sure, but yeah, to put a hammer in front of him or some like half a dozen tools and say,
sure,
what are these? I don't know that he would necessarily know what those are or what they're used for or how to use them and stuff. So that's what we're missing about this generation coming up, is that a lot of these people don't know. They might not know how to run a lawnmower if they always lived at home or do a chainsaw or some of these things that we need to realize that the maybe not as mechanically inclined as some of the rest of ours are. And part of that's not, I don't think it's necessarily that generation that they're just not doing the stuff. I think it's my generation that we had to work, that we feel like we worked hard or learned how to do all that stuff so much that when we're providing for our families now, we don't want our kids to have to work as hard as we did.
Definitely.
So it's almost hamstringing them a little bit because they're not.
Yeah.
So unless you take them out, I've taken Judd out to the garage and, to change. So, to go through changing brakes or changing a flat tire and doing that, some of the kind of that stuff. But yeah, some of the, the basic things you're like, if you're mowing the lawn, he goes too fast. It's like, no, we got to make sure the lines are really sharp and nice and stuff. But yeah, so I think just that generation coming up, that a lot of them are like, a Ben, and I'm not picking on you. I said just that's a mentality. Like their hardest job was, or most dangerous job was working at a pizza joint or McDonald's or something. Now they're coming on to here. And it's and you're young and having to grow up and do stuff. So I think there's a little bit more to that than just focusing on explaining the why, but even like simply breaking that thing down to be like, this is a Phillips head screwdriver that you use on these screws, and this, I mean, that's something that we just need to think about.
And I think it's sometimes maybe the people that are clueless as to what this job really does entail and how you really do need to be well-rounded as far as like mechanically inclined. You need to be smart, critical thinking. I just think people don't know that. So like, why would you go to a job and swing a hammer if you were able to? I don't know what you did at Godfather's. It couldn't have been something that like critical
I don't know, those
thinking.
ovens are hot. I think I would burn myself about every
oven
day.
hot.
Yeah.
I can't touch that again.
I'm telling you, that Prius in the winter, it was like one-wheel drive.
So hopping back to Ben, your story, I think you glossed over a big part when you were fire chief at one point in time.
Oh yeah. So we were in we were where we were at in Somalia was like an airfield, and we closed it down. It was that was kind of like the highlight of the deployment. We were closing down the base. It was a big administration change. It's kind of when like the Biden thing was. They were transitioning to president. So this was one of the last things President Trump wanted to do as an executive order. And at one point, we were like one of the last 45 people on this base, which normally had like 500 people. And the government determined that like we were just going to leave a ton of equipment down there. It just wasn't worth bringing back. And one of that was a fire truck. And the crash fire rescue guys, which is like that's what you do in the 185th, they left it and they were gone. So there was 3 days we did not have any fire protection services. And so as a joke, I made myself like the fire chief of BMA Airfield for like 3 days, and it was just all fun, right? I started this volunteer fire department. I drove around the fire truck as my own personal vehicle, and all of a sudden, we're trying to leave. Like we were going to leave the country. We're going to be done with this whole thing, and there is a wildfire that starts out on the airfield from like a mortar round or something started it, and it's burning, and it's burning towards the airstrip, and like there was some 04 or 05, can't remember what rank. He's like, I don't like that. Like we need to do something about it. And they're like, well, we don't have any crash fire rescue assets. So my captain, who I don't think always loved me, he has to like roll his eyes now and like go get some E4 who's a fire department on the civilian side and be like, well, what do you think we can do about it? I'm like, I think we can take care of it. So we went out there, we filled up this crash fire rescue truck, beat the brakes off of it. We actually hit it. We actually ran it into a HESCO because like the gates when they come, like the gate, they have the barriers, right? So like a vehicle ID can't just come charge it through and blow everyone up. So we had to take this long fire truck and like drive it through. And I would think we hit like 2 or 3 HESCOs on the way out and back. Couldn't even get one of the doors open. It was all said and done. But we put the fire out, and at a radio, I was calling myself like Chief 19, and I did a blue card and on the whole thing. And at one point on the radio, they were like, someone came and was talking to us, and we were like, well, who was that? And it was like some recon plane, SR-71 or something in the sky that was. They had like, we got Overwatch on the BMA firefighters.
They were like, are you listening to this
right now?
Do
they even still use SR-71s? Is that
I can't remember what it was.
It was like
U2. It might have been like I don't know. It was some plane that had infrared that could see us out there, and they're like, "Yay!" So
awesome.
we can see them, and like we don't see anyone around them. If we think they're safe, we'll keep an eye on them. Let them know if
you can't
that changes.
Overwatch on your grass fire.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
that's all it was. Like if it was here, it was just a dumb grass fire.
I love that Baker planted the seed for that story because he knew you were going to tell every stupid detail of that story, and like you could choose to omit certain facets of that.
Oh yeah,
but I'm really glad
it's one of my favorite stories.
I'm really glad you did.
That is a good story.
That's a great story.
Because how many other people can?
Yeah, we ran over like 3 people and rolled it a couple times.
Smashed
we made it though.
Flat tires when we were done. Just trash.
You couldn't sell this thing when we were done with it.
Actually, we put it in the fire line, and that's what stopped the fire.
Yeah,
the fire truck.
So, how many guys did you have for a crew?
We had 4 on the crash rig, and then we had 2 ATVs. We went to all the abandoned tents, and we took every fire extinguisher out of it, and we threw them in the back of these ATVs. So we went out there with like 28 fire extinguishers, and we were just going around putting out these hot spots with fire extinguishers.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
What a great use of resources.
What's that?
Like, so what it just like thinking on the fly, like adapt and overcome.
Yep.
Like, there's a fire. Well, we got this guy that maybe knows a thing or two, and
didn't appoint him fire chief for no reason.
Yeah. So it was a big crash truck like you would use on a plane wreckage. So it burned through the water quick. And we put it out there, put in gear. We just threw it on like the seat of the fire, and then we had to get the hot spots with the extinguishers.
Did you guys knew how to put it in pump and actually spray water? Or was
yeah,
that just...
it took me. I had to find the instructions.
Okay, I was gonna say, was there instructions on how to do it?
It took me a minute.
Yeah,
but we got it.
Maybe we should have looked this over before.
Yeah.
No, I'm chief.
Just send it.
I'm chief. I don't need to look that over.
Exactly. Yeah, my captain wasn't thrilled with us at the end. We were having fun, and we thought we were.
Well, if you don't put that on your resume, you're an idiot.
We just thought we were like the best thing ever, and then he was. I don't think he liked that.
Less than impressed.
Yeah. Because he had to go explain to like some special ops, like 04, 05, what we were doing, and how to get the stamp from like a different country for us to even go out and do this, and we were just being idiots. Had no reason.
You mean protecting the surrounding area of the airstrip?
I mean, I did some campaigning for it. At one point, it was determined that it didn't need to get done. And then one of the people that went out with us, he was a lieutenant. He had a little pole, and I'm like, "You got to get us out here on this thing. This will be."
You could have wrote one heck of a bullet statement out of that.
I didn't even like. They didn't even. I tried to put it into an award.
Oh,
but
they totally they
were
blacklisted
so
that story for
against
sure.
it. I'm like, I feel like we did something.
Yeah, that
You
did
get
not
like
happen.
a service ribbon on your uniform for that one.
Exactly. Where's your combat firefighter patch?
It's a dumpster with a fire,
That's
a dumpster
exactly
fire
what it is.
patch.
Well, some kind of foreign country, something kind of combat or accommodation.
I thought it was so funny because the crash fire rescue guys
especially
that
if
were
it was
there,
caused by like some kind of ordinance, you'd be like, "Well, here we were under fire."
Well, I mean, you
And we
started
had to,
it
like,
was
the
a fire. It
fire.
was technically a firefight.
Yeah,
Oh my!
That's what we tell people.
it's technically.
The crash fire rescue guys that were there, they didn't do anything for 6 months. They didn't go on one fire, one downed air. They didn't do a thing. And then they leave, and the one day they leave, they get this big brush fire that comes running through the airstrip.
I bet they were pissed though.
Yeah, we came. I saw them when we got to
Hey,
back to
guys,
Djibouti.
guess
I
what
told
we
them the whole
did?
story. I showed them a picture of their truck all messed up. They were like, "What'd you do to it?" Like, they ran it through the brush. It's not a brush truck, right? We just ran it through the field.
So that's I love that story. So let's transition. Let's talk about that. So that's a pretty memorable experience or memorable call. You know what, like Ship? What do you got for like what?
We don't have to start with me.
No, well, I mean, just something that like. If you were just going to tell a story, like, and I know through your career you accumulate so many that you're not going to forget and stuff. But what's one that like stands? Like, if we said like, what's an incident that you were involved in or went to or call that you're like, dude, this I will always remember this for
I got one just from the other day. We'll start with that. How about that?
Yeah.
Paul Johnson is working for Ryan Dykstra, so he's my officer on truck 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm driving, and we have probies, so every Monday, truck 3's responsibility is to do boat ops, run the boat 3 and make sure it's good with the trim, the oil, motor. You run it up and down the Missouri. A gentleman is on one of the docks at the public boat ramp here in Sioux City and does not speak. It's very broken English. We come to find out he was Armenian, but he had his 2 boys on the other dock and he wouldn't let them come over, and he keeps waving to us. And Dominic Drobaugh and Jordan Reers and I are down there, and we're back in the boat in, and Dom goes over there, and I'm helping Jordan with the boat, and he like waves me over because he didn't have a life vest, so he wasn't within 10 feet of the water. He didn't want to walk out on the dock, so Paul walks over there, and I'm getting the boat in the water with the probies, and I see his look on his face. I'm like, oh no, we got a body or something over there, and I see the guy pointing to his chest and like in the water, and I go over there with Paul, and I tell the guys just hold up right here, and we go over there, and there is a like well preserved set of lungs floating in the water with an esophagus, trachea, the whole bit.
Jesus.
And Paul's like, "That's animal, right?" And I go,
I hope so.
I was like, I hope so. I really hope so. And we get it out of the water with sticks and stuff and lay it on the dock, and I'm like, dude, that's pretty large set of long. And I mean, it had the 2 on the left, 2 lobes on the left, and 3 on the right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, pigs are super similar, and I've seen pig lungs, but this the way it was preserved, like with everything intact yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell some cut marks, but I'm like, no one baits with lungs because they float.
All right.
Lungs float. If that's not, if you don't know, the body goes down after the lungs fill with water, but eventually
Maybe it was a
the
bottle.
water goes out and it comes up. That's why the body floats after a couple days. And they're just floating here in all this debris. There was a ton of debris from the recent rain we have gotten and what they've gotten up north from here. And I told Paul, I go, man, we got a call, right? I mean, we can't just throw it back in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, yeah. And he calls PD. PD comes down, and the officer that came down is like, I got to call ID. And it's like, I don't want it to be human, but like the off chance that it is.
Yeah.
Long story short, I'll show you guys the pictures here in a minute, but it's just one of those things where you're like, I think I've seen quite a bit. I don't like saying that.
Right.
I've only got 10 years.
Yeah, but just when
10
you
and a
think
half
you've
years,
seen,
I think I shouldn't be surprised much anymore. It's something like that happens, and you're like, what the heck? And Paul was just like, what the heck? It's just so weird.
that is weird.
So bagged it up for ID, and they took it up to St. Luke's for the medical examiner to look at because they would know better than
just
they
a set of
see
lungs.
autopsies more than we see trauma and stuff. So it's a lot different. This was like
just
the weirdness of it
perfectly
was so
good stuff.
and the Armenian gentleman was going to call.
Yeah.
But luckily, I mean, we were just there, so
Right.
it didn't make a whole deal. But
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what cow lungs look like, but usually, like, even Paul worked in a
Yeah.
packing house growing up, or when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, when you gut things, everything kind of comes out together.
Yep.
It's not just like,
Just
it was
that.
just the way it was. It was like,
Weird.
and the mafia, when they used to get rid of bodies, they would cut the lungs out so the body didn't come
Body
back
would
up.
sink.
So the body would sink and not come back up.
It's good to know.
So maybe some mafia
Every good
ties
Chicago
going
cow
around
knows
here,
that.
Well, they do call it Little Chicago, right?
Well, it's like Little Chicago, eh?
We got an old Chicago.
I got A in there. I got
Well, there used to be Little Chicago, the deli.
literally
I heard that.
was.
I heard
Yeah.
there's like
Oh, it's Tasty Sandwich Shop.
yeah.
Tasty.
Yeah.
I heard there
Tasty.
a long time
Tasty
ago,
is
there
a
was,
tasty.
Al Capone had ties to Sioux City.
You did?
Yeah, that's
So,
where all the.
so don't you, the Father Haddock?
do you not listen to George Lindblade?
not?
Yeah, that's why I
mean,
learned it that day. When
Oh,
George
Yeah,
was
okay.
here.
yeah.
That was like
with,
when
well, that
got
building.
my
So
history
what was it? The battery or the not the the battery building, right there where the plate. So that was like one of his, because that was the place where some mobsters would hang out, do nefarious things,
It's
and
so
all the
cool.
different speakeasies and stuff, and in town. But yeah, that
mobsters.
was Al Capone would hang around back in the day, hide out in Sioux City.
Tell me I can't drink. You'll get pulled out and shot in the street, man.
Yeah.
Hey Ryan, I got a couple
Hey,
stories. I think you
Alistair.
can tell.
Okay.
You gotta tell me which one. So, you were talking about deployment stories. Would you tell the Nitro story?
The Nitro story. So that was I'm a bit of a jokester. That was a long
No.
play on a joke. So when we went to Africa, normally when we deploy, we would send everybody together. And as of recent, when we send our departments, 27 people down there at the base, we would send a majority, 22, 24 people. I think we got tasked with like 22, but this time we sent half, and then 3 months later we sent the other half. Well, we had to do some pre-deployment training. We had to go to New Jersey for some training, down to San Antonio for some training. And the second group, there's a guy, and he gave himself the nickname of Nitro. And this guy was just, hey, my name's Nitro, just call me Nitro.
That always goes well too when you give yourself
Yeah.
a nickname, right?
Yeah,
you
so
can't nickname
really
yourself.
liked his nickname. So I was like, okay, I'm going to mess with this guy. So he was in the second group. So he came 3 months later. So our pre-deployment training was about a month, and then from there we turned around and deployed. So we go down to this training, and the people that we were going to be deploying with from other bases, they were there as well. So there was a guy in our group, and I started calling him Nitro in front of everybody, like all these people from the other units and things like that. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, just playing along with him.
Oh, no.
And so for 4 months, I had people. So a month of pre-deployment training. Now we're in Niger, and these people don't know him, but just by Nitro. So they walk in the chow hall. Hey Nitro, what's up? So anyway, this setup took me 4 months. 4 months of setting this up. So then our second half gets there, and this guy, he's there. I think we're in the chow hall, and somebody walks by, and this other guy, Levi, they look at him and they go, "Hey Nitro," and looks, and he's like, "What? What'd they just call you?" And he's like, "Oh, Nitro. That's what everybody calls me here." He's like, "Wait a second, that's my nickname." And he's like,
not
"That's what
here,
everybody's
does it,
calling me
buddy?"
here." So
Just caught on.
That's a nice long play.
That is
4
awesome.
months
Long
for
con.
it to finally just sit back and
Just sit
watch
back
it
and
play
let it
out.
play
It's a
out.
beautiful thing,
really
isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's fantastic.
Especially when it comes to full fruition like that. You're like, yeah,
Yeah, that's the long play.
it's all me, baby. And you just like plant that seed and step back and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's
the best
kinda-
part.
And then everybody else was in on the joke, and they didn't even know about it.
Great.
That's
So
kind
great.
of Ryan's thing, though. He's always like, there's the chicken tacos.
A
Oh,
trick-
that was,
a
I tell you what, the
trickster.
chicken tacos thing, that was like
I
the
wasn't there for
greatest.
that.
Was
Was that-
the
No, you were there for
greatest
that.
You did it to Colby, right?
troll.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
don't.
we
No, I
trolled-
don't think I was.
No,
there
you
to
were
eat
there.
it.
I
Was
know
I
you
there
were
to
there.
Yeah,
eat it?
because we trolled you guys with your probies.
Maybe I
all right, so
tried not giving you the satisfaction so much that I like
It
tried
was-
to.
I
And I was just like,
Dykstra-
meh, wasn't that
Dykstra
bad.
tried to sell it to us that we didn't like. Come on, how did you not? How did we? How are they not terrible?
So we get a lot of people that get hired on EMS and they transfer over to fire. So Coco was on EMS, and this is when I worked at Station 4 with Phil. And we didn't cook up all the time, but, a handful of times a month. And so anyways, Coco was there for EMS, and I made some chicken tacos one night, literally chicken breast and chicken taco seasoning. And Corey's just going on about, oh, my God, these are the best chicken tacos I've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's like,
He was trying everything to get hired, wasn't
he's
he?
like, can I get the recipe? And I'm like, all right, dummy, it's chicken breasts and chicken taco seasoning, but here you go. So anyway, fast forward, he gets hired on to fire, and so we're outside and we're cleaning windows, doing our station maintenance, and so we're cleaning windows. I'm up on the ladder washing a window, and my phone rings, and it's Corey, and he's like, hey, so Corey's on probation, and he's on with Devan.
Yeah.
They were on third shift.
Yep.
So there's 3 of them. And he said, hey, I'm going to make dinner for these guys. He goes, I need your chicken taco recipe. I said, Corey, because I'm kind of frustrated. I'm like, I told you.
You're busy doing something.
Yeah, and I'm on top of the
Awesome.
ladder.
Yep.
I'm like, it's chicken breasts and chicken taco seasoning. Like, it can't get any easier.
You
than
literally
that.
get a packet of seasoning.
So anyway, I finished cleaning the window, and I climb off the ladder, and then it just hits me like that. I go, I got to call him back. So I call him back, and I was like, hey, man, sorry, I was busy washing windows. I was like, I forgot to tell you. I was like, you got a pen and paper and stuff? And he's like, yeah. And I said, okay. I was like, 4 tablespoons of fennel. You got to add that.
Yeah, I added
said-
the fennel.
I said, cream of celery.
I don't know what
Stupid.
fennel is.
Nobody uses it.
Because
It
nobody
is-
uses it, and it's such it's a weird flavor, and it's so strong.
It's more of a garnish, like
yeah,
than
it's
a flavor.
like
It's
really
so bad.
overpowering. So to use 4 tablespoons in it, like
It's
even
so
when we
bad.
make porchetta, I don't think you use 4 tablespoons of fennel.
And I
because
think
it's so
I
strong.
think Tanner was at the store, so then he has to call and give this
Yep.
whole shopping list to Tanner for Tanner to buy
cream,
stuff.
cream of mushroom or cream of celery soup.
So this is how I know you were there.
It was making a marinade. We were making
Okay,
a marinade for it first.
I might remember watching him put something into this crock pot and going, what are you doing? Because it was like whole cloves.
yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, this is the recipe I have. And I go,
It was so
anyway,
good.
I'll let.
Yeah. So Devan says, "Where'd you get that from?" And so Corey
Yep.
is making dinner
I just don't
for the
want you to
whole
have this
shift.
set.
Yep.
Yep. And he's like, "Oh, I got it. It's Baker's recipe."
Immediately called you.
Yep. And then Devan knew that I sabotaged their whole station's
Totally.
And if you don't
trolled
know,
your dinner.
Dinner is
through your
sacred,
probies.
especially to me,
So
because I eat about 8 meals a day. But the firehouse kitchen dinner is like top priority, and I'm watching this guy put clove, fennel.
I,
All that. I'm like,
I think we told him Worcestershire sauce.
there was
I
just
think we
he's
told
just
him
Worcestershire
we
saucing,
told him
and I go,
so
what are
much
we having?
stuff.
He's like chicken tacos, and I'm like,
chicken.
Oh, we just I
What?
can't remember
What?
if we did cream of mushrooms. I mean, just so much
it was
stuff.
so weird.
And we're just like, we're just coming up with the most obscure stuff and just giggling the whole time because we're like, okay, if they're stupid enough to like put this together and try to serve this, like, we're just gonna let them do it, and
this-
we're just
well,
like,
and
giggling,
this is
just
the whole thing,
waiting
like-
for it to find out.
we eat it, and I think we convince ourselves that it's good. Psychology plays into this, and we go, we're not giving him the satisfaction. I'm not doing it. That's what I'm thinking in my head the whole time. I go, I'm gonna have 3 plates of this. I don't even care.
Just to do it.
Well, I'm thinking, like you said, it's sacred, but I'm thinking, okay, Dusty's there. He would appreciate the joke.
Yeah, we did.
Dykstra, nope.
I thought they were
Nope.
going to be mad. Like,
Brandon, nope.
mad.
Nobody's going to appreciate. Dusty would, but I couldn't miss out on that opportunity.
No.
Oh,
That's
it was so good.
yeah, it was
we
a
were
good
just
one.
like, I think we were crying. We were laughing so hard when we're just like,
And for
oh my
them,
God,
and for
are they
Colby-
like,
and for
are they really
Colby-
going to make these things? Because come on,
Well,
For
no,
Colby
Coco-
knowing you,
but
and
they were
Coco.
clueless. They didn't know, they don't
But
cook
the
anything.
worst part was because I waited by the phone the whole night. I'm like, somebody's going to call, and you guys never did.
Nope.
You guys never.
And then we
called
bumped.
me.
I think I remember the training like a week or something later. We asked, and I said, "Oh yeah, those were so good." Blah blah. And like, so yeah, he's just trying to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we're having it again.
yeah. It was
Never,
awesome.
never again.
Yeah, the fennel. Like I said, had we not gone and told him, if we told him like a tablespoon of fennel, I bet you like. But when
Oh.
he's like scooping it
Just
into there, like,
scooping.
then that throws up a red flag. But yeah, we were just coming up with the most obscure
Yeah,
stuff.
it
It was
was-
awesome. God, we were proud of ourselves for a little bit there. It was awesome.
Man, you guys need more work to do other than wash
There's
your
a
windows
lot of
out
awesome
there.
stories
Really,
like
all I'm
that.
good for.
By the way, okay, so you kept saying Coco. Do you want to go into nicknames at the firehouse? Kind of. Did you have a nickname, Ryan?
Rab, because nobody knew
Sure.
how to actually spell my name. So my name's Arthur Ryan
Yeah.
Baker.
Yes.
But I go by Ryan, so everybody thought it was Ryan Arthur Baker. So Rab.
Okay.
I think it's cool. I don't know if I really.
I just learned that just now. I thought it was Brian Arthur Baker. No.
Really?
No, that does not shock me that Ben doesn't know your name.
Yeah, everyone calls you Rab, so I assume that was.
Are you? You're
no,
not
I'm being
kidding?
serious. I'm learning that as we speak.
No.
Real time. It's real time.
There
reaction.
you go.
This is
I mean, I knew Arthur was in there somewhere.
Because when I came on, I was with Dykstra, so they couldn't call me Ryan because he was Ryan.
Correct.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was Sewell.
So it was just Rab, right? That's just all I knew you as when I came on. So, Rab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Nothing, Phil?
No, I mean, because it was always, firefighter Phil or Minnesota Phil or something. I don't, other than that, I guess I'm not sure.
Hold on, I just learned that your name's not Bill.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Real time.
Yeah, I can't say mine. Pedersen gave it to me.
Oh, yeah. You
So
can't
some
say that
people
one.
get multiple nicknames because there's a nickname, but then there's another nickname.
Yeah, that one. Oh, that was a good story because that was you we did that to, right? With me and Pedersen.
So that was the illegal burn. It was my first. I won't want to call it fire. But it was the first time I saw any sort of fire on this job.
That was
we
did that to you, Joey.
And there's some lady. She was like,
"Oh yeah, I know how you got the nickname."
Yeah,
I know how you got. No. I'm talking Pedersen and I when you with the turnout gear.
Oh yeah, that was probably the same. Might have been one of the same.
And some
shifts.
people get multiple nicknames throughout probation.
No, we so poor Ben, right? We were out. We had to do a couple inspections. Something I can't remember if I was working a trade or overtime, and down there, and I was acting on the engine, so I can't. Either way, I was acting. Pedersen was driving, and then Ben was on the back, and still probie.
Yeah, it's like my 73rd hour working.
Yeah, and so we went out and inspected stuff. Well, he had forgot part of his turnout gear at the station, whether it was your coat or your boots or something. Forgot part of it. So Pedersen had noticed, and then so we're like, and we were just, we were down on 3rd Street section. We were just down the street from the station. So we noticed you. So we were like, okay, we got to go back and get his stuff because we know it's gone. So, but we're like, oh no, we're gonna play this out though. That we got a call and so you learned a valuable lesson that you never forgot your gear again. But yeah, he comes out and Pedersen's like honking the horn, like we gotta go, we gotta call, we gotta run. I jump off real quick, like no tones on the radio or anything, but I'm throwing everything on, like we got a good call, and I'm like, we get in, and he's like, just he doesn't even want to say it that like he forgot his stuff.
Heart to yourself.
Oh yeah. So we go and and because we sold Pedersen, I sold it and then we pulled in the station. He jumps off, he gets his stuff on real quick, and then we told him but yeah, learned a valuable lesson and stuff. That's but yeah, Pedersen, I trolled him. Yes. Yeah, he was like,
I was so
poor Ben was like, you could tell he was just ready to just pass out, like just green, just sick.
I'm
like,
fired.
When he realized he
fired.
Yep. Yeah.
Love that.
I thought I was getting fired a lot. I remember I broke the glass at Station 3.
Yeah, I remember that
probation.
too.
Yeah, I was throwing.
We were all particularly pissed off about that.
I was throwing a racquetball at the wall. I was bored in the training room, tired of studying.
Rule number 1: you don't get bored in the training room. So we were like already pissed off, and then you broke something. We understand some horseplay goes on. It was a picture of a pumping apparatus, like the functions of a pump.
Yeah. Oh, that's how that got.
It's still hanging up there, just no glass.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember Ed was so like you just tell
Captain
he had a long
Voloshin.
Day. Yeah, Captain Voloshin. He had a long day, and I had to go tell him.
If I recall, his days didn't really start getting long until when did you? What was your start date?
Yeah, exactly. Then he had to leave. He had to take a promotion to get away.
You literally drove him out of Station 3.
I drove all 3 of them out.
Congratulations.
That's the first thing he said when he came to Forza's Capital was like, I'm so glad to be away from Moorhead.
Yeah.
I could just relax.
I heard a good one too, and I still use it every now and then. It's Less Head.
Yeah.
That was I like that one.
Less Head instead of Moorhead. Less Head.
I like that one. And then Ship. Come on,
Ship is, and I'm embracing that fully because my grandpa was called Ship, my dad was called Ship.
Yeah.
Mine was Woodrow for a long time.
Yeah. What's the story there?
It's even on my gear bag still. So they called Fox Woody because he looks like Woody from Toy Story.
He walks like him.
And they're like, well, we should call you Big Woody. And I'm like,
okay.
Didn't say anything. I'm like, my eyebrows perked up enough to where Pedersen picked up at it. And he's like, we can't call him that. That's too, the connotations with that. But that's
probably because after the Moorhead incident. Or maybe that was before Moorhead.
Yeah, maybe
either way.
It was before. Okay. So then he's like, Woodrow. And he just he saw it on my face. And I'm like, please no. And he's like, what was that?
Yep.
I'm like, no, God. That's it. Woodrow. It. So it was Woodrow from then on. But Ship has been the nicely adopted one, and So that's where that is now. And
So I had Jesse.
with it,
Jesse
but-
was on the lieutenant's list though, so he had to keep it calm. He couldn't. He had to stay under the radar. Right?
there's no such thing as keeping it calm with that man.
No.
God bless him.
Yeah. No, the one I always can't say, but we had this illegal burning. And there's just some lady burning like her entire front yard. She's got couches, beds, whatever you name it, and she's completely naked from the top up. And so I'm just so jacked to be on the booster line. I put the fire out, slay the dragon. I'm like, oh, this is the best day ever. This is what it's all about. And then this lady just starts groping me, rubbing my shoulders, and she was in love with me. And then Jesse gave me a nickname from there, and then it kind of stuck. Then it started being used in public, and then Captain Voloshin had to shut that down. And be like, no more of that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was not one
Might
of
have
the
to
more
do some editing
better.
after this.
Yeah, that was not one of the better nicknames that I've heard on the job.
No.
So I don't. So you bring a point like thinking about this is this is getting in doing the job, doing the things ship thinking about East Coast stuff myself East Coast because that's what you grew up, you watched Backdraft, right? I mean, that was a movie and get you all jacked up for the fire service, kind of what we envision, or there was a draw to it for us, right? But I tell people, and I tell my students and stuff when they're coming into out at WIT, that for me, like a book that made things make sense. So to me, like firefighting was East Coast.
Sure.
I mean, it was
I get
the
that.
it was the traditional helmets, the Bork shields, it was the long boots, it was the smoothbore nozzles. It was like East Coast firefighting. Like that was firefighting to me. That's what I wanted to do, right? And it was, if it wasn't FDNY or Chicago, it just wasn't. It wasn't the same, right? It was. That's a different world. So here I get hired in Sioux City, Iowa, right? In the middle of I drove through. I went to school at Creighton down in Omaha, so I mean I knew where Sioux City was. I'd driven past it or whatever, But it's like here you're in Iowa, landlocked in Iowa, going 600 miles from home. It's going, man, this is not what I envisioned. A fire, this is not. But then I read a book. It was 3,000 degrees. So it's about the Worcester, Mass. Cold storage fire.
Yes.
So Worcester, Massachusetts, East Coast Fire Department, old school.
Worcester, Massachusetts.
Oh, it's Worcester.
Okay.
We
Worcester.
can have this. It's not.
Worcester.
It's not Worcester. It's Worcester.
Worcestershire.
So somebody correct us, but it's Worcester. Anyways, but East Coast, salty dogs with the big mustaches, leather helmets. I mean, so to me that was like East Coast firefighting. That was the thing. And reading that book, and when they talk about the firehouse life and the different things and the probies and the characters in there and stuff, and you read that and you're like, dude, these are the same people doing the same job that we're doing right here in Iowa, in the middle of a cornfield kind of thing. I mean, the exact same thing, same experiences. Like, it's not busy all the time. You have downtime. Their probies do the same things. Like, they have the same conversation, all this stuff. So after reading that book, it was like that to me, like all of a sudden changed my perspective on being here. That this job and this department and stuff, it's not like, it's not a even in Omaha, but it's not a Minneapolis or Chicago or a giant major metro fire department, but it's still for our stations are still busy. We still have the same calls. We still have out of the ordinary calls. We have tech rescue stuff. We still have all the cool stuff that any of these big departments do. We run differently, but it really put everything in the fire service, for me at least, in perspective, to change my viewpoint of being here. To like, this is firefighting. This is doing it, every day when we come to work.
People always, talk about fires being down or whatever, but I think we're still seeing good action comparatively to I have a ton of friends that are in the fire service, and I'm like, I had another structure fire last night, and they're like, well, it's been, 6 months since we've gone to a house fire or even a building fire, and I'm like, ugh. I mean, not that we want that to happen, but like you said, that's why that's why we're here, right? I mean, end of the day, to help people. But I want to go in a fire tonight. I want to see flames tonight. I want to break stuff. I want to, do all that macho crap.
You're on a truck though, so
again, the ones that do the most work. There's a reason. There's only two. We can get into that later, but I mean, there's a reason they go to every fire. But that's. What's the matter? What are you laughing at over there?
We were thinking of another story. I was looking at Ryan. I'm like, would you tell the air horn golf tournament story?
I was there. I was there for the original.
Yeah. It was me,
Roth.
Nick, and who else?
Jesse Smith.
Jesse Smith.
Yep. My Pro League partner.
Yeah. So we have our local 7 golf tournament, annual golf tournament. It's been going on for
it's quite a while.
forever.
I don't know. Yeah.
So anyway, again, like to have a little fun. So we brought an air horn with us, so we could air horn people during their backswing. And so there was 18 holes. There's 32 teams, so each hole had 2 teams. So I think Roth was team captain. So they say, Roth, hole 9, whatever. And then we're standing there waiting for our other team, and they say, Anderson, you're hole 9. So Rich was known for a lot of things. Having a good temper wasn't one of them. So
Love
we're
you to
just
death cap.
we're just thinking, oh my God, this couldn't have played out any better. And so it took 3 blasts of the air horn. The last one we were hiding behind some bushes, and the clubs started flying at us. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. We had the most fun on the course that day.
That's one of my
hands
favorite
down.
stories.
And then I think Ed got yelled at for the air horn.
How did he get yelled at?
It was something. I think he called down to talk to Rich, and he asked him if he had any air horns. And
Oh my God!
we could ask Ed about that when he's out.
Yeah, that'd be a great one.
Yeah. So
Terrible.
Yep.
That's really, really funny.
So how about this transition? Because we were talking about trucks and going to jobs, and we need to have trucks at the fire ground. One of the important roles at the trucks. I mean, besides vent, get the roof, and maybe some force a little bit entry and shift, but most important thing about 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning is having that coffee ready, right? Having a coffee maker. So if we're going to say what do you guys? Let's transition a little lighter and stuff, and maybe
You're not
either
starting
brand or
lighter
coffee.
from here.
Yeah,
This
either
side of
brand
the
of
table.
coffee or best. What's your favorite way to make coffee? If you're more than just if you're somebody that could do something more than just a drip, or favorite place to go for coffee. I mean, what's
Well, let's talk about the history. Truck 3 was the first truck to have a coffee pot.
No, truck 1.
Was it Truck 1?
Yeah, truck 1 was
The
first
reason
Code
we
Black.
put one on is because truck 1,
Okay.
they put one on. There was no way we were going to fit one with all the stuff we had on.
and not that we're
90.
making fun of having a coffee maker.
No,
I tell you,
there's-
because that is like
But
you
we
know,
did at
it's-
first.
that's
before-
Everybody
right.
made fun of them at first until
but
we used
but that
it.
Yeah, the
yeah,
bun,
but that
grab
Ford,
the bun,
that, yeah,
grab
that
the bun and the
5
blower. The
Yep.
bun being the coffee maker and the
Yeah.
blower
But
being
that
the
5,
positive
6 o'clock in
pressure.
the morning after you've been, when you're frozen so much that your gloves are like you can't even move your glove because it's frozen.
Yeah.
The styrofoam cup just fits there perfect, and you've been up all night.
You look
Dude, that
back
is like
at
the
fire
best thing.
service. There's
Yep.
pictures of guys back in this time with cups of Joe in their hand.
Yeah,
And what a saving grace that had.
yeah,
to
that
have
is the
been
best
back
thing at
in
like,
18,
at that time.
84.
So now we're not
just
knocking the coffee maker.
in
'cause
18,
that's-
hundreds.
is
Yeah,
way
Code
more
Black
appreciated.
is
That's a real
it's a
thing,
good,
and
some
it's
cool fires this last
everyone
one.
lines right up to get it, don't they?
Yeah.
I fired it up at the Ida this year,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like between me and Captain Anderson with rehab there.
Yep.
It's like a godsend on guys'
Oh, yeah.
face. They just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's got the
4 in the
coffee
morning.
out.
Because that was good. The was the Nebraska Street one where they came out with the
Yes.
rehab. That was like,
That
and that
was-
would literally was. My hands were frozen. My gloves were frozen
mine
like
were
this.
frozen
But
in
my
position.
styrofoam, this I didn't even have to squeeze the cup. They just fit right there, just
Absolutely.
perfect. Yeah, yeah. That was a cool.
It's a
but that
real
was
thing.
The best
Yeah.
thing. But truck 1 got it. You guys got one on.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Favorite methods though, I like that.
yeah,
I'm a French press guy.
yeah.
I like doing stuff with my hands. I don't do a slow drip.
Mm-hmm.
I'd buy strong enough coffee that I don't want it to drip too slow,
Yeah.
But if I have the time, I love doing French press. I grind my own, all that.
Nice.
Hand grind it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's the real deal. But
Yeah.
I just got a regular grinder at home right now. But
I'm just a coffee bum. Whatever's out, I'll just drink a cup of it.
Yeah. I'm
You're the connoisseur over there.
Yeah,
You'll-
so French press is cool. If I really want a really really good cup of coffee, you gotta start with a high grade roast. Because it doesn't do you any good to do a French press or something. If you just use Folgers,
No, you're not
You got to
doing
get
that.
something that's roasted
Yes.
really good. So a good coffee and fresh
like
beans
Maxwell.
too. Yeah, Maxwell, the flavor crystals, right? And fresh too, because if you're using whole beans that are like 2-3 weeks old, it's not the same. Also, so fresh beans, good fresh roast. I like a Chemex. If I
Okay,
want
yep.
if I want the best cup of coffee that I could possibly make, and that's a Chemex.
Hazmat guy.
Yeah.
Weird.
So that's so that your glass carafe, the Chemex filters are a little bit different. They're kind of thicker. Just the shape, the triangular shape with them themselves filters the coffee different. But I tell you what,
like a
if you
wire,
want to,
isn't it? That Chemex?
no, the Chemex, it's still a paper filter. It's like and it's a glass carafe that you're going and you pour. So it's still a pour over. So 202 degrees, I guess, for your water temperature, and you measure out your grains, your everything, and then and it takes a good Chemex takes about 10 minutes to pour the water through and stuff. So it's really slow. You gotta bloom. You got to bloom your grounds and stuff. So you just a little bit of water, let them bloom, get some of that acid, get those bubbles out. And then that's how you know your roast is fresh, right? Is how much of the bubbles, how much of the gases get released out of the grounds when you're doing that and stuff. And then another 10 minutes, just that slow and let it. But that Chemex, when you look so my Chemex, my carafe, I've hardly ever cleaned it because the coffee in there is so clean, if that makes sense. Like because it filters out all the acidity. Any of the sediment, debris, and everything, and it is like when you pour it, it is clear. I mean, it is so clear and stuff, and that it doesn't leave any residue or anything in there. That to me, that's the cleanest. That's the best cup of coffee. But it's a whole process, right? It's a whole thing of taking their stuff out and doing it stuff, and so it's not just a hurry up. I want a cup of coffee.
It's like smoking a tobacco pipe versus a vape.
Yes,
there's no satisfaction in that vape. You pack in your own pipe. You smoked pipe tobacco. It's like I compare it to coffee, honestly. I do.
Yeah.
Like just the mechanism of doing everything with your hands and like.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, I earned this nice treat now.
Yep.
Because I did obviously the planting and the plowing and the roasting of the stuff
right.
like that, but
just to
just
do
I
that.
did
and
something to get it.
Yeah, and you put effort into it, and this is your reward for it and stuff, and you can be like, that's just a good cup of coffee.
We're jiving across the table here right now.
I'm just picturing like Hawkeye from MASH making coffee.
Oh, and he's got his big distillery and stuff. Yeah. But you did the Turkish coffee that one day at the station. That was kind of cool.
Turkish coffee. When we were in Kosovo, they had a bunch of that. It's just a little metal pot, and you heat it on the stove, and your grounds are almost like cocoa powder, and it just blends right in. You get a slurry on the bottom, but I like cold brew the best.
Oh yeah.
Just steep it for 12 to 24 hours, and
baby.
A
good cold brew is good.
Yep.
Normally with the dark roast, it's a lot less bitter, and
Well, and people don't. I was sitting with some people yesterday, and they asked about and said something about iced coffee and stuff. Cold brew. They're like, well, what's that? I had a cold brew. It was poured over ice, but it was a cold brew, and I said, no. I said, iced coffee is like if you just took ice and took hot coffee or whatever and poured it over.
Right?
Yeah, that's an iced coffee. Cold brew is it's like deal. It's like when you're if you're making tea or whatever. But you're steeping it anywhere from 12 to 24 or more hours, and then filtering out the all the grounds and stuff, and then having that concentrate actually increases the caffeine content.
Yes,
too.
it does.
Never gets hot. It's always at room temperature or in the fridge.
My sister, God bless her soul, bought me a nice cold brew press.
Yeah,
the 2-in-1 where you let it steep and then you press it the next day.
Yeah, basically, your French press for a cold brew.
Yeah,
I have one of those. I haven't made a good cold brew for a while and stuff. And those
tonight.
And again, you have to have. You can't just take Folgers, throw it in there, and expect it to cold brew.
Not.
Like that's really, I think more so than a hot roast or something or pour over is that cold brew is having quality coffee for that because that makes a huge difference in your flavor.
So you talked about crash fire rescue guys never doing anything on a deployment. So when we were in Africa, we didn't have a runway because we were building that base.
That's right.
So I didn't have a lot to do. So we went to the top 3 committee and requested a purchase. So we got enough coffee to do 1,000 cups of cold brew, and so on my days off, I would sell cold brew coffee. We raised $1,000 and then gave it to the local village for their schools.
That's super cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool because
things to do.
We had, this base was just tense. There was like not even 200 people there.
Right.
So one, it was nice for morale because you had crappy DFAT coffee, and nobody liked that stuff.
No.
And then. It was we got a whole tent to do it in. So, a nice meeting place everybody could go. And
that's one thing that brings people together too, isn't it? Coffee.
Get some coffee in the morning, and you got to build those relationships around base, and then which always greases the wheels if you needed something or.
Those are the coffee guys.
Yeah. So.
Buying wise, I'm a local snob. I like buying stuff local if I'm into something. So
Yeah.
like, I'm a big I like Stone Brew. I really like their coffee. I do. I think they make them right. Like, whereas you go some places, go to your Starbucks and it's this much cream,
Right.
and that much sugar,
yeah.
and there's that much of whatever you're getting, your latte, your coffee, your espresso, whatever it is. To me, it's just a good cup of coffee there, and I like their roasts that they have.
Yeah. Well, and they roast
Rosie's
their own
makes
stuff.
some good roasting coffee. I mean, anything like that's made at Coffee King here in town.
Yep.
Dude, I like buying local.
Yeah.
And
Well, Stone Brew is good because Stone Brew does their own roasting.
yes. Yeah.
So that's, same thing. Rosie's does their own roasting.
Yep.
A lot of stuff comes from Coffee King and stuff. So
Yes,
but yeah, I would agree if I'm gonna go, if I'm going someplace to get something, I'd rather go to Pier Street or Stone Brew and stuff. But the local places and local shops.
Another
more so than
good
others.
place to check out is Hardline. If you've
I haven't been to Hardline.
Go to
yet,
Hardline.
no.
They have some good baristas there.
Yeah.
They make good coffee, good
Where's that
lattes. This one moved down on lower 4th, so by the art gallery area, right off of what was that, about Pierce location, right?
Yeah.
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 You guys
in
know
that area.
Stone Brew, so all their beans they roast them, but they come from the mountains of Japan.
This is Ryan Baker. This is why no one said anything, because
we
we're
can
like,
fact check that. I know some people.
Rad.
I
Stone Brew.
just
said it,
never
so-
believe anything Ryan
No.
ever says. So I'm
you're
waiting.
safe 90% of the time, but then when he's serious, it's like,
You never know.
I will say I think it's all
I
fair
don't
trade.
believe
It is all fair trade though. So
because lots of coffee comes from the mountains of
Fair
Japan,
trade,
so
Japan.
I mean,
Yeah.
highly believable.
yeah. South America, wherever else.
Sorry.
Some of that stuff.
They have Japanese coffee.
I'm sure they do.
Wow. Thanks, Ben. I'm sure they have Japanese coffee.
They have a Starbucks in Tokyo, I'm sure.
Yeah. Probably do.
Cut that. Cut that.
Probably
Okay,
do.
so coffee. So yeah,
I've never
coffee.
been.
Not that we're
Never
gonna
looked it up.
because this is like
But I know a guy who went there and
I
had
know a
some.
guy whose cousin.
No, you don't.
One time.
No, you don't.
Well, this one time. No, you didn't.
All right, let's talk about. I tell you what, let's talk about because so we could say because the things that go good with coffee and stuff, but if we're talking about things at the firehouse and stuff, of course, coffee and it is usually I'll bring bags of Black Rifle or some local stuff and everything, but most of the time it's all Folgers. At the firehouse we know it's Folgers in a bun. It's just that make it strong, make it weak, whatever. Usually firehouse coffee is, if you could call it, if there's a equivalent of cowboy coffee equivalent, it would be firehouse coffee. So
for sure.
but other things we
I'll
do.
I'll touch on because Folgers is not good coffee, but it's the cheapest.
It gets the
coffee.
job
Yes,
done, though.
It does. It
And
gets,
I'm
So,
not going to knock
if you
Folgers
start
because it gets
mass
the job
buying
done.
good coffee, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so you got to keep it cheap, right? So the
Right.
minute someone brings in like a better brew,
yeah.
and then you try,
Well, how
it,
much
that
is
was
that
really
gonna cost?
good.
Right.
Yeah, and then you have to go back to Folgers. You're like, so you can't even afford to just go up in coffee tier.
Yeah.
You
just
I don't
gotta
even want to taste anything better.
right. You just want to drink just the garbage
Or
because
else-
that's all you know.
Yeah, you go back and you're like, well, this is just horrible.
We're weekenders at threes.
Yeah.
We'll bring usually Brandon DeRocher is really good about bringing in some Black Rifle for
Yeah.
the boys on like Saturdays and Sundays, and we'll have one pot of
Yeah,
that,
good
and we'll
coffee.
have one pot
Yep.
of Folgers
Yep.
for the people
Yeah.
that prefer that.
It's
So
turpentine.
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. Especially the stuff that's been on the burner. It was made at 8:00 in the morning and still on the burner.
Love
at
that.
8:00 at
I
night.
don't care. I used to think, okay, Captain Lyle, no disrespect, I thought you were a psycho because it would be 4 p.m, and if someone touched that coffee pot and
Yep.
turned it off,
Yeah.
the stuff that smells like
Oh,
burnt
yeah.
popcorn,
Yep.
he'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, but I get it now, kind of, because I
Yeah.
drink it all day and night
Yep.
now.
Yeah.
So
Just run through it.
I kind of get it.
Because it
So,
just becomes a thing. You sit there, and I don't know if it's because of the coffee or it's just having the cup and the
it
thing.
might be
and just when
addiction.
you're
It
sitting
might
and
be
just
addiction. Let's be
sipping.
honest.
I don't know. It's just a thing. But let's do. So let's another big thing at the firehouse. We because it is a big debate in Sioux City. I think at all the stations, everybody but pizzas. Let's talk about
Oh my
like
gosh.
what's if we could have that discussion. What's like
I'll go in here. I personally feel that Sioux City, Iowa has some of the best pizza for local.
Yeah,
like,
so
local
talk about
pizza
like worlds.
places.
Yeah, and talk about like even traveling, like because you guys have been across the pond, right? Some of us haven't, or even just in your travels for vacations and things like that. And so I mean, there's a big, I don't know, palette, I guess you could say, of who's got, I mean, where. I guess outside of Sioux City though, where is some of the best pizza you've ever had? And then compared to even in town, like what's
I would say like the best pizza I've had outside of Sioux City is Fong's Pizza in Ankeny.
Oh my god,
really good pizza down there.
That's a really like preferential palate though. Yet again,
Yeah,
like that's
I mean,
like a
they have,
certain type
specialty
of
pizzas.
like they have a crab rangoon. That's
it's really good.
That's
it's
its own
so good.
thing.
Yeah,
though.
that's
That's
a
not
thing.
really pie to me.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but if
I'm a snob when it comes
if
to
you were
pizza.
go to, like,
I have a tattoo of pizza, so
a
I don't want to.
a traditional marinara pizza. I'd probably say Alfredo's is your best in town.
Oof.
Then
Pizza Ranch.
Bob Rose, followed by Jerry's. Pizza Ranch.
Hey, they make a good
They do.
dessert
Dessert
pizza.
pizza.
I'll
They
tell
do.
you
They
that.
do have a
Pizza
good
Ranch?
dessert
Yeah.
pizza.
Oh yeah.
They have a good buffalo.
That's a
chicken
local.
pizza, too.
That's
Yeah.
local.
Yeah.
Sioux Center, right?
I guess I don't
Orange
go
City?
out of town
Sioux
and
Center.
have pizza because of who we have. We probably at our house get it from West Side the most, which would
Right.
be like Bob Rose.
Is it
and all
weekly?
those.
How often are you doing it?
Once a month because we'll do that in wings because they have the best wings in town.
Okay.
Hands down.
You know.
Do you get that sour cream ranch?
Yeah,
Dude.
extra.
Dude.
I would drink that.
Yeah, every now and again they forget to put it in. If
Oh.
you're listening,
Put my finger.
So Bob Rose, I will say Bob Rose because living in Sergeant Bluff, we'll get Bob Rose and then take it home. That's a mistake. If you're going to do Bob Rose wings
Do it
and stuff,
there.
you have to eat it there because
Sure.
the
I like
when
that.
because
I
the
like that.
styrofoam will steam.
I get
It
that.
will hold in the steam. It'll steam
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sauce off the wings, and when you get home, you're like,
What's going on here?
It's a little different for
sad.
me because I'm so close to like point after, but
yeah,
yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah,
for
you
sure,
have
I
to
see
eat them
that,
there,
yeah.
and then yeah, absolutely.
but I'm not saying that's the best. I would
No,
say
no, no.
Jerry's.
Well, which
I'll let
which
everyone
Jerry's
finish.
location?
Jerry's
I'll let
in-
everyone
Jerry's
finish.
in Lamar's, Iowa.
Stop.
Well, Hamilton
Come on,
because
you know
that's
it's
the one
true.
I normally
Okay.
go to.
Because
But
they have because you got that cracker crust versus the Morningside Jerry's is a different crust than the Hamilton Jerry's.
yeah, the Hamilton one. But I don't. We don't get it a lot because my wife doesn't like it. So
That's a preferential taste too, for
yeah.
sure.
So
Jerry's is.
hers is Alfredo. So we normally those are the two we go to. But if
Sure.
we're at the station,
Yeah.
I like.
So
to
for
get,
discussion purposes, let's assume every pizza's on its best day.
Well, that's like every time you get it, right?
Yeah,
Because I'm not eating pizza every single day.
No, but
Right.
I love
like,
pizza, but
it's
Yeah.
pizza's at its
Let's
best.
be
'Cause I've
real.
had like all these places like, oh, it wasn't that good tonight.
Right.
But let's assume it's
maybe
at its
you just have it too often, and
Yeah.
That's
I'm gonna
usually-
it's
do
just
a-
becoming like bland for you because you are pizza. Which
Well,
is
that
fine.
is a hard because like
Jerry's hamburger mushroom.
I'm gonna go ahead and let everyone answer, but I cannot pick a favorite Sioux City pizza. It is mood for me. It is what I'm in the mood for. But there's so many good ones.
Alfredo's, because I will say Alfredo's. If you took Alfredo's sauce, because I think that's
Bro,
what makes them so
yeah.
good is,
Which
is
one?
their
Which
sauce. Just their
Original.
straight
Just their
up,
original.
just their original sauce. Yeah, I think their
if I'm feeling
their sauce,
spicy, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think their sauce is something because there's something different. I don't know if it's nutmeg or something that they put in there, but their sauce is very distinct. If you're
I think it's
no seriously,
cumin.
like no,
I think it's 4 tablespoons of fennel.
it's
That's got to be
or
the
something.
fennel.
But there's
It comes
something
back
in
to
but
the
there's
fennel.
but you could all agree that their sauce is distinct though.
Oh,
if you had
absolutely,
4 red sauces in front of us and we taste all
It's
4
like a
of them,
spaghetti sauce on a
Alfredo's,
pizza, dude.
Alfredo's,
It's-
you could pick out Alfredo's.
the
Their sauce is
marinara.
different.
You know, it's
and they got
I gotta go, but like when you're talking toppings, as far as a sit down and eat in place, which makes like a Bob Rose nice because you could sit down and eat it there. Which is there's not a ton of really good pizza places. Tony's Pizza was another one you could sit down and eat.
Tony's
at.
good.
R.I.P.
You know?
man, right?
Yeah.
They open.
BA's doesn't
so-
make a bad pizza.
Dude,
Yeah, well,
people
I
sleep
heard-
on BAs.
100%
Yeah,
they
the
do.
BA's is
Again, you
kinda
got to
gone-
eat it there.
Well,
You got to
and
eat it there.
It's kind of gone downhill.
Okay,
So I'm just
okay.
saying that
And I'm not a
BA's
good
used to
judge
be-
because I only usually eat
Right.
it at Proby parties, and we
Yeah.
all know how those
so
go. Don't we,
BA's,
Rab?
BA's used to be fantastic, but Bob Rose to sit down and eat it, I think is one of the best ones
Yeah.
because their toppings, their portion stuff, I think, and with plus you're gonna pair it with the wings, and you're just gonna be like,
And then
you
a
know,
nice
just a
cold
food
beer is
coma, and you're just gonna be
nice,
miserable.
cold
But as far as takeout pizza to take home, same thing. Alfredo's, I think you eat in there. A take home pizza, I gotta go. We do Jerry's in Morningside though. We do the Morningside Ave location and stuff, and that one, just the amount of toppings and stuff, and that's I think I would pick Jerry's.
bakery crust, right?
Sorry, quick Jerry
And
story.
they pick up they used to, at least I know from a former employee, George Glass, that they used to, like, all their vegetables, all their stuff is
Fresh
locally but
produce.
and fresh
Yeah.
fresh produce and stuff, so not that frozen garbage. So
I was in Kuwait when Pizzagate happened,
When you had
Ooh,
Jerry's,
yeah.
so that was international.
that's
that
wild.
story.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyways,
Well,
That's
some
great.
Some Sioux City famous.
Hashtag look
famous
into
news.
it.
yeah,
I think for like because we order out at the firehouse, I think we have just a phenomenal selection of food
Dude.
to order from. So you go pizza,
Yeah.
but like Sneaky's is always good to order from.
Oh, Dude, Sneakies, man.
I love Sneakies.
We got good food here,
I miss
man.
being
Yeah.
downtown just for Lawanitas. We'd get Lawanitas. Between there and Jim's Burgers, I could live.
That's
off
another
those
one. I
places.
cannot narrow down a favorite Hispanic food around here because it's mood, I think, and what I
Aguero's
want.
is-
And what you want.
Like
at
one
the
place
time.
has got the Jim's nachos. Love Jim's
In
nachos.
Eights, you guys don't have much though, right?
No.
We have Aguero's.
Well, yeah,
on
Guero's still over
Villa.
on Villa now, and now that that's open. So I mean,
there
I
you
tell
go.
you, when you talk wet burritos, though, to me that's one of the best wet burritos. Is Guero's.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, they're really good there. So but that is a hard. Yeah, we do
It's a
have.
hard
There's
one,
a
man.
lot of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
Because then Jim's with the red sauce wet burrito. If you're not looking for queso and you're looking for a good red sauce, I like Jim's wet burrito with that.
Jim's is good at the firehouses.
Or but then they got the burgers, bro. And I want a burger that's like
yeah,
running
like
down
messy,
your
like something you could write home about.
arms. Yeah.
You know,
getting a burger
I don't. You know, I don't
Bro,
want to get
where
a
are we
burger.
going after this?
Yeah.
We got to
I'm
go
going
somewhere.
to Jim's after
Yeah,
this.
because if I'm getting a burger, it's something I don't, because you could get a burger anywhere
For sure.
But like, what sets it apart to make it like I'm gonna go to this place for that burger because it's you know. But yeah, it's something you want to write home about. Like,
Shout out to Assistant
Where?
Chief Kelleher.
Where are you talking?
well,
Jim's,
like
right?
Jim's or
yeah.
something, just anywhere
For their burgers?
Yeah, have you ever had Jim's burger from Jim?
Oh,
have
boy,
you guys
here we
been
go.
to
What?
Tomardo's and had their burger?
Bro.
They are good. burgers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you just usually get the big pretzel at
Jim's.
Dude, you got to get a burger
Charcuterie
at Marto's.
board.
You
Yeah.
got to. Yeah,
Burger's
and they
good.
usually do a weekly special where it'll
Yeah.
be something different.
Okay.
They've done like a goat cheese one. They've done the farmhouse with like pulled pork, smoked pork on it. Like,
Oh,
dude,
yeah,
it just depends on the week, but
Yeah.
I've never had a bad thing at that restaurant.
Who used to have really good was Soho.
Haven't ever.
Like pre-COVID,
Okay.
pre-COVID,
People
Soho,
sleep on that too.
Yeah, Soho had their burgers and their pizzas were bomb, and then kind of COVID happened, and then they slowly started bringing back the menu and stuff. But they
Yeah.
had a couple like their Popper Topper.
Dude.
They had the stadium,
the best
like
burger in
this.
Sioux City's that Popper Topper burger.
Okay.
The Popper
okay.
Topper is amazing, but the
That's your
they had
favorite,
that
huh?
stadium. They had this stadium burger where it was like,
Oh, yeah.
you had like all the meats just piled up. Just oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that was you ate that and then you curled it into a ball and took a nap, like
For sure.
in the like sitting at the table right there.
Yeah,
Z
for sure.
monster.
I'd
Yeah.
agree with that.
No, that was awesome.
Just-
Where do we go? Okay,
You know what? I don't know. Breakfast wise, I'm a big breakfast guy. Like, I could eat breakfast any day, any meal of the
Well, I think like
day.
just breakfast at the firehouse is the best thing about
So
work.
thank you
And
Sioux City
like
Fire
our
Rescue
Saturday,
members for
Sunday.
ruining biscuits and gravy for me out. I can't
Oh,
order
you-
it because
Yeah.
it's so unique and everyone makes it a little
who's
bit different.
who's like
Every
Dustin
Sunday.
Keel,
best?
Brandon
Yeah,
DeRocher,
I
and
would
Dustin
say
Keel
so.
used to be Alan Kinsey.
I was just saying
that
'cause
guy's
Al-
biscuits and gravy
yeah,
were like
Al's were famous. Yeah,
just the stick
the
to your
Keel
ribs.
boys do that. That whatever that bake thing with the.
Yeah.
They do an egg bake with
the
biscuits
stuff in it and
gravy
everything.
it.
And yeah, that stuff is
Man,
that's
I'll
amazing.
tell you
There's
what,
a few
he'll
people
bring
out
in
there.
their own game,
Yeah,
and mix that in like their bacon and stuff. Oh man, they got it.
We got a lot of guys that know how to use the smoker too. Chief Kelleher makes the best prime rib. I feel like
He makes a
you
good
could
prime
ever
rib,
have.
dude.
Like I don't care
Okay.
what restaurant you go to, what steakhouse.
I don't know. Well, if doing it at the fire, I would. I don't know though. I would. Liz can make a. She can
Could
do a
she
prime.
oven roast a prime?
Oh.
I see. I
Lizzie
go
could do
back
a
and
prime.
forth. I love smoked food, but a good
Yep.
oven cooked prime rib.
Yeah, because
It's
she'll
hard to
she'll
beat.
start if she's gonna do a prime, like she'll start it at home like way earlier and stuff, and then eventually finish it
that.
on the smoker and everything, a prime or a brisket and stuff. But she's done a brisket where we cut it like a prime.
Okay.
Oh, but yeah, no, when she does prime, that was always like that was a special.
Pardon
day
the
when she did
interruption. I
prime.
have a brisket on the smoker right now at home. So
Nice.
Yeah,
How long has it been on there?
this one is only like a 5-pounder, so
Okay.
I'll probably only do 10 hours with that one.
And wrap it.
Yep.
Let her
You
sleep.
guys
Take a
ready
nap for a
this?
while.
You know who has really good brisket in Sioux City? Is Arby's. Arby's has a really good.
Shut up.
They do. They have a really
Shut
good
up.
brisket sandwich.
Dude, we are missing a hometown barbecue joint. Like
Like
I want
really
it.
good.
I want a restaurant.
We
Famous
got,
Dave's
we got
or whatever.
Famous Dave's.
I want like a hometown barbecue joint.
We
Well,
used to have It's All Good on Transit.
I know that.
That was
but
pretty good.
I wish
Yeah.
there was another
It's all
place.
good.
Kylie
Kylie
Q's.
Q's. I
That was
loved
pretty good.
Kylie Q's, and that was on
Okay.
Saturdays.
Yep.
It was a food truck. It would be outside the station like every
Oh,
Saturday.
and we have good smoking
Yeah.
food trucks, but
Yep.
I want a place that
Like,
I can
sit
go
down.
anytime.
Oh yeah, and just
right
get a
now,
good.
like-
So that there's
Ever went
that.
to Arby's?
Go to Arby's.
I haven't been. I haven't.
It's
I
the
wanted
number
to.
one brisket sandwich.
meat.
I haven't tried that,
so
but
good.
that melting cow that's like what is that? Down on 4th Street. The not what's. I'm trying to remember the name of the place that it's in.
I think you should start a food blog.
But
Ben.
it's on but it's on 4th Street. But melting cow, I
Already
haven't
been
tried
done.
them yet. No.
Best barbecue restaurants in Sioux City. A local restaurant I like to call Famous Dave's.
Famosa Daves.
Famous Dave's, Arby's, some other third place.
Yeah,
That was a big one
Texas
for guys on
Roadhouse.
OT down at Ones. I remember. Would
Famous
be,
Dave's?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
because you can feed so many people with it. And
they're pitmaster platters. Feed the whole station.
Oh, yeah, the trash can lid. Like,
Oh, you don't have the Famous Dave's menu memorized? All right.
I'm sure they got Famous
much are they
Dave's in
paying
Japan.
yeah.
You tell me that they don't.
Tell me
I'll start one. I'll start a chain. I'll talk to Dave.
You're off the chain. You're unhinged
Okay,
today.
so as long as we're talking about firehouse meals and breakfast or whatever, so what's either how about like the best meal you've ever had in firehouse that somebody's made, and in turn the worst, because there's been some guys, and not to pick on anybody who's made a terrible meal at the firehouse.
we don't have to say names. You can
We
say
don't have
dishes.
we could just say what the dishes are and stuff, but or like something that you just made, something that like you knocked it out the park, or something that you just messed up super bad. I do have one story that still haunts me to this day, but
That'd be tough to narrow down the best meal. I'd have to double down and say Chief Keller. He makes prime rib.
Hey, Chief, are you listening?
I'm just-
I love
he
you.
doesn't listen. It
You're
is
the
so
best.
good. I remember I had it on when I was on probation when he was down there.
Hey, I'm
knows
taking the
what he's
test
doing.
August 30th. If you didn't know.
I'm not passing that. We don't have to worry about that. But worst meal. It wasn't a bad meal. I think the context is funny because it was Zach Veach, and he bought.
Just said we don't have to say.
I know,
Okay.
but there was
but
there was like
Beachy
a
baby.
but
yeah.
Beach,
there was
we
like
can use
he
that.
would think it's funny. There was like 11 people at Station 1, and he bought 11 1-pound plus chicken breast. And like normally you'd cut them in half, and everyone gets like half. I mean, we had so much chicken, and the meal ended up costing like $13 for chicken breast.
Oh
and
my!
rice.
Right at the Viper's pit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. He was
Oh,
new down there too.
no.
The guys ate him alive.
Oh no!
Did you hear about the time he tried to make corn at Station 3?
I saw it.
So he had filled corn that had been in the back of his truck for 2 weeks, and the husks were brown.
That's what he was using?
Yeah, and so
Oh my God!
he brought it in and he set it on the counter, the island, and Dustin Keel
And
just
field corn.
Like that cows eat.
just goes off on him.
You know,
like
silage.
just ruthless, just hammering him. I'm like, you need to calm down on him. So finally, Veach is like, no, it's good, and so Keel talked him into eating one of them. So he boiled one of them and just sitting there, just
One of those. It's good.
yeah. So he went to the store and bought more.
Veach, God bless you, bud. Thanks for trying.
I love it.
Seriously. Yeah, it's
Terrible.
I just worked with him yesterday. I did some OT at 5, so
You got to learn those lessons.
You do.
I gotta think
it
what
makes you better.
So second worst meal I've ever had, porchetta. First worst meal.
What's
Whatever.
the porchetta?
Uh,
That was
he'll
Phil.
tell
He's
you that's
it's from up north.
might as well just eat Arby's. But anyways,
famous for their briskets.
Bro, briskets. You heard it here first, folks.
so probably the worst one. So we just got our probies completed their probationary period 2-3 months ago. But one of them, not a big cook, and he made soup as a meal. So that's probably the worst one. Soup.
But like
Soup.
like chili, right?
Nope, soup.
Like not as a side
chicken.
or like a
Like
starter.
what kind of soup?
Like
I mean,
chicken
was it
noodle
like
soup.
soup with like lots of stuff?
Doesn't matter.
No.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you did like a big chicken noodle soup or something, or chicken vegetable soup with like some sides and
Was
things
there
like that.
bread?
I mean, you
Was
can.
there bread as a
You can
side?
about
Wintertime?
imagine probably. You can
Why
about imagine.
during the winter? Like if you had a,
Hey,
wouldn't you? Huh?
I make a chicken tortellini.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal. Talking
my
like
face.
I roast the red peppers, put them in there.
Yeah.
I cook everything.
So
in
yeah,
chicken
to
broth,
look at
but-
like I mean, if it's like it was like a broth with like a couple noodles, then that's laughable. But I mean, you could make a good soup for your meal. What do you know?
So in no reality
Soup
do you
and
make
sandwich?
soup for firefighters. And I think there was bread, but that just no.
What kind of soup was it?
I'm not calling
I
my
beg-
tortellini
I-
a soup though.
No,
either. That's a
I would beg.
stew.
I would beg to
Like,
differ on that.
You
one.
could do a chili.
It's a full meal.
Is
long as
chili
you have cinnamon
is
rolls.
chili a soup?
It is not.
Okay, there's another great debate later. Cornbread versus cinnamon rolls with chili.
But I'm not saying it was a bad
Later,
soup. I'm
Yeah.
just saying
Just soup in general.
you don't do that.
You
It
can't
wasn't
do
good though, right?
I was so mad I didn't even. So no soup.
What if you had like
Like,
soup,
is
and
this
like
a
soup and
Seinfeld?
sandwiches? Because it's not just soup. If you had sandwiches, like if you had some cold cuts and
Well,
some
that'd be
buns
What, a
and stuff.
funeral food?
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about? That's what that is.
That
is
was pretty
funeral
much
food.
his probation from there. So.
I'll see what's wrong.
No soup.
No soup for you. Soup.
If you're on Ryan Baker's crew, do not.
I guess
do
don't
not
serve them
cook soup.
soup,
Which is fine. But chili's
Or,
okay.
or porchetta.
or porchetta.
Okay, what's porchetta?
So porchetta, back from the old country. It's from north. So really, actually, porchetta outside of the Iron Range, not a big thing.
It's French
you
fries with
can't-
gravy, right?
No, that's poutine.
Oh, okay.
That's a Canadian thing, which also
What's the difference?
well,
no.
poutine delicious. Who is it? Down at Diving Elk, excellent poutine down there.
Dude,
If you want to get
Elk.
poutine, go down to Diving Elk.
They got a
Check
good
it out.
You
poutine.
can get
They do.
poutine down there. It's good.
Another good place to eat.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But no. So, but that is a Canadian thing. Not to be confused with the range, but no, Minneapolis, it's a thing in the metro area and stuff, but more so up on the range. You can go to any local meat market, any supermarket and stuff. You go to Super One up there. Anybody, you can get a porchetta anywhere. My old man makes porchetta, so he'll get me. He'll tell me, "Hey, I'm making porchetta. Do you want any?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I'll always take it. So, and I've made it at the station stuff, which Baker, for whatever reason, his palate is too sensitive to eat porchetta, which there is fennel. So porchetta it's pork butt. And it's rolled out. It's rolled out flat, and then it's seasoned. So it's mostly a lot of fennel, like some parsley, crushed red pepper, some other things. And
I'm
stuff.
gonna look
So-
this up because I'm not believing a
I've-
word you
I've-
say.
No,
There's
and then
fennel
you
in
and
this.
then you roll it up, and it's spiraled, and then you put netting around it and stuff. So it's a
I've
roast.
seen this on your Snapchat.
Yeah, so it's a roast, and then you put it in traditionally. Then it goes in a crock pot, and it'll crock for about 8 hours. Crock it down, and then you pull the netting out, and it shreds down to nothing.
That sounds
And you eat it
good.
on hard rolls, a little mustard. It's money.
Okay.
Okay, so just think
Money.
about this: 4 tablespoons ruins pork tacos or chicken tacos.
Yeah,
Makes porchetta amazing.
yeah.
I've never heard of fennel in my life, and I've heard it 4 times.
I keep wanting to say fentanyl,
No,
and I'm like, wait
it's
a minute,
a little bit
it's in
different.
everything now.
Yeah.
Even the porchetta.
Okay,
No,
so you
okay.
know when you get Jerry's Pizza and you get those little green things, they're about that long, real skinny on top.
Sure.
That's fennel.
Yeah, it looks like a seed almost.
Okay.
Yeah. Side note: Have you
Again,
ever seen
rosemary?
Have you ever seen
a
Baker's?
garnish, not an actual spice that you should cook.
Well,
with.
rosemary's that's a garnish because you usually pull the rosemary, pull the twigs out and stuff when you're done and stuff. But no, porchetta, like Google it, porchetta, and it's a thing.
Check it out.
It's delicious.
Our producer, can we?
He did not
pull that up.
Yeah, there's fennel,
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
That's
that's
fennel.
fennel.
Seed,
Okay.
Seed fennel.
Yeah.
Seed of fennel.
but he does it. But no, if you go up in the range, like you go to any Land of the Loon, you go to the Blueberry Festival, you go to any of the Arts and Crafts Festival, you could get for any of the Italian stands and stuff up there, you get a hot porchetta sandwich and stuff anywhere.
Okay, I was just
mean,
gonna
it's
ask.
like
do you
a
serve it on
standard-
like as a sandwich or
Yeah,
is
like
it
hard
anywhere?
roll.
Okay.
Not a hamburger,
No,
but
no,
it's
no,
not a
no.
hard roll.
Hard roll.
Some little
like
bit
a
of
deli
mustard.
sandwich.
But then he makes you put mustard on it too.
Yeah, I was a little bit of mustard on there.
See, I'm not hating this. It's almost like a Cuban without the other meats and cheese.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, that's fantastic.
Speaking of
yeah.
sandwiches, Ship, I heard you make an excellent Reuben.
I do make a great Reuben. I'm not even toot. I love it. I make a good Reuben. Yeah.
Side note: Have you guys ever seen Baker's of Mine's delicious hot dog machine?
You got a Rolo Weenie machine?
Yeah, that was from,
no,
that was
that's
from
a
paintball.
Oh,
right?
duh. Yeah,
Yeah.
we eat them off at paintball. Yeah.
It's a steamer.
I ate like
Delicious
8
hot
hot
That's
dogs.
fantastic.
It says right on
What'd
it.
you just say?
I ate like 8 hot dogs that one day we played paintball.
Okay, here's one. Have you
Because they
been-
were delicious.
I just
Delicious.
kept going.
Speaking of
Okay.
which, I think it's your turn for custody of it. I've had it for like a year.
I know. Yeah.
LA Rescue the other night we watched, and one of the stations was doing a hot dog eating contest.
Yeah.
My buddy in Ankeny sent me a video the other day. They were doing a hot dog eating contest. First 20 minutes, my boy Chris Rohde, I will shout out your name right now, 7 down in 20 minutes. I don't know where he ended up. He might have died. I haven't heard from him
Just
since.
Probably.
No, in the first 20 minutes of the competition.
Right, but 7 hot dogs in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Do that right now, Phil. Tell me how you feel.
7 hot dogs in 20 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Ben just said he had 8.
That's
And then
just
ran
20
around.
minutes.
That was after
that's just
paintball,
7
though.
that's just 7 dogs and buns.
In 20 minutes.
I was fighting the war. I didn't know when I'd eat again.
Joey Chestnut eats
Bro,
70 in 10 minutes, dude. Like we can
This
eat.
is not Joey Chestnut. This is you and me nuts.
Okay.
Not Joey Chestnut.
7. Now, if you had said like 17, I would, or
In the
like
first 20 minutes, that's like they
20
got
minutes
like
is
an
a long
hour
time.
or so.
Okay, so our end of skit is going to be 8 hot dogs apiece.
I'm not
We're gonna
doing
see
this.
Who finishes
No.
first.
yes.
I bet you finish first.
No,
but I
no,
bet
it's
they
you
don't
two.
I'm not doing
I'm
that.
not in this conversation.
I just think that's
Were
impressive.
were
Ben,
the
who
hot
you
dogs
picking?
this big?
And I'm an eater.
I'm
and
an
I think
eater.
that's
I know.
impressive.
If I had to set the over-under on hot dogs Phil could eat in 20 minutes,
Yeah, but
I mean, I guess I'd go 7.5.
I'd go 7 and a
I
quarter.
just don't
And
think 7 seems like that much.
Do you think you
I
could
think
eat
that's
more
impressive.
than 7 hot dogs in 20 minutes?
In 20 minutes? I think so.
It's not like that was the end of it, though. Like, he had just, like, he's, like, got 7 down so far in 20 minutes. Like, it's not like it was like, oh, no, I could only eat 7 after 20 minutes.
Well,
no,
how many
I'm
did
sure.
you eat then?
I would eat 7.
I got to confirm. I
7
don't know.
and finish with
So
three.
what was their time limit, or was it just till they tapped out?
I don't know the rules of here.
Can you imagine going to a fire? after
No, that's
eating?
the
No, that would
thing.
be the more. So
See,
we did.
eat
So
7
that's what.
in 20 minutes at the firehouse.
Yeah, see,
that's
and that
my
would-
main thing.
Okay, and that would be because I've been there where let's see, we were getting done with probation. So I had Lieutenant Winkler when I started. He went off got his shoulder fixed and retired, but he came back and he was like, as far as department cooks, one of the best on the department. You got like Gordon Wilson or Tim Wilson. Willie was always a fabulous cook. Mike Winkler, like Al, certain guys that are like staples as far as like firehouse cooks. He came back, made filet mignon. Ginormous baked potatoes. Just so much food, right? And gorged to the point you are absolutely miserable. Like, pushing back from the table, like miserable. And we got a 4-tap, and this was the old truck 3 truck 43, the one that Sloan has now. That truck, and that thing was rough ride. So on the back, dude, it was all I could do to like just chew it back. Like, and luckily we got to turn around, come right back.
Oh.
But it was so miserable.
We've
like,
all heard the
just-
stories of guys having to yak.
Yeah, it had we had like anything, it would have happened.
You said this was on what? A truck?
Would you
You
stop?
guys didn't make it to
Stop!
the
Oh
call?
my gosh!
No,
You know we go to every fire, right? Everyone, even the ones you don't go to, right?
You go there, you just don't get to all of them. Anyways,
That is not true. Every fire we make
7
it
hot
to.
dogs.
You remember it was after the grass fire and Liz made those filet mignon.
Oh, that
we
was
were there
like
since
that
2
was
in the afternoon.
yeah, that was probably that. If I had to rank like, so not necessarily like which it was like the best, but if I had to rank like most grateful, like happy, like meals that ever made, like I was ever made at the firehouse, that's probably the number one too.
Oh, you're gonna
So
get
shout
that.
out,
3 of us then.
yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to Liz. That like, so no, that was a grass fire out of Malloy Road,
Yeah.
Road,
Yeah.
and we were out there, yeah, like 2:00 in the afternoon, whenever got called out, and they got at some point they came back and stuff, but
was
and
like
they
an
were
8-hour
making dinner.
ordeal.
Liz was making a big fabulous meal anyways and stuff, and here she has like 10, it was 10, 11 o'clock at night when we got back. I mean, it was late, but here, she called, she's like, I'll have it ready for you boys,
Oh man!
and we rolled back and
What
we
a
got back,
sweetheart.
and we're starving anyways. 'Cause we had a couple granola bars, whatever. I mean, just junk,
just to keep
a couple
you
snacks,
functioning.
and got back after being and just beat up. You're walking and you're beat up, dirty and stuff. And here she puts out this spread, and it was like, oh my god! I mean, that was like we're so happy. Like it was almost like tears on your face, like happy tears. Like it was so.
I'll
like,
tell you
that
what,
was probably one of the best.
One of my favorites was
meals.
Al Kinsey made like smothered pork cutlets.
Oh, Alice Cutlets. were
That's up there,
famous.
man. That's just like my grandma's cooking for me, basically. Like
Yeah.
one of those deals. but
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
Al.
Al's Cutlets.
It's-
That was a firehouse like staple.
Yeah.
Like no duplicating like staple. At the
Heavy
firehouse.
cream, just heavy.
Yeah.
Stick to your ribs meals that were just fantastic.
There's some
well,
good cooks. We brought Tim Wilson. I remember floating
Yep.
up there at 6s with him. He would.
I think
he'd
we
make
still
some
have
good food.
seasonings at 3s because of Tim Wilson.
Best,
So
Probably.
thanks
best
for that.
fried. I learned how to make. He showed me how to make. I learned how to make chicken fried rice like the right way
Like a walk.
Right
from
on.
him. Like I mean, in the secret to good fried rice, and I learned from Tim is you got to dry your rice out. So you make your
yeah,
rice,
yeah.
and then you got to lay it out for hours and let it just that
dry
moisture
it.
come out and dry out of it, and then you can fry it, and then you can make it stuff. Oh yeah,
Where did he pick up all his cooking?
I'm not sure if it was when his time in the service or just what, but yeah, he would
He's just
work
a
overtime.
perfectionist at everything
Yeah,
he does.
he would work overtime, and he would make like just these almost like a white wine reduction kind of stuff, sauce and roux and I mean you're talking like gourmet level stuff at the firehouse was just he was quite the cook.
Sure,
very impressive.
Yeah, Bo Kearns is another one.
Yeah,
oh, dude,
Bo can cook.
his chicken breasts that he makes with like the mushrooms and cheese and bacon. Have you ever had those? Yeah,
I did like a crab boil not that long ago.
oh man,
his the lettuce wraps.
Cabbage wraps.
cabbage rolls.
Yeah,
Brandon
the cabbage
DeRocher.
rolls.
Yeah.
Brandon DeRocher makes those.
Yeah,
and
Bo's cabbage rolls.
Talk about 7 hot dogs. He ate 6 ears of corn the other day.
DeRocher did or Bo did?
Bo.
That's
all
like a
empty
cartoon.
calories.
I just imagine just down
Like
the
a
line.
Disney cartoon.
I can see it right now, though. That's great.
That's a lot of corn.
Good for you.
Those are- it's really
I am
Has the
corn.
department ever done like an apartment cookbook?
Yes,
Where everyone
yes,
gives their
we
best
do.
Well,
recipe?
There's one at Threes.
Well,
And
is
then
that
in
just
Lindblade's book
Lindblade's
has
got some recipes in there.
Yeah, it's just
and
like
Lindblade's,
2 or
but I
3,
think there is a
No,
department.
there is
like
one.
An
It's in the
actual
drawer
cookbook.
at Threes still.
Yeah.
We can show
See,
you.
someone brought like if you did something like that and then sold it and proceeds go like St. Florian,
Yeah.
and everyone just sends one recipe of their best thing.
I like that. I don't want to give my secrets though.
Yeah, and I can't write a book.
Well, you can't read,
Nope.
so
But I kind of like that idea because there's so many good cooks with some good recipes.
yeah, that's true. But
So I'm looking just kind of ideas that we kicked around because some of it doesn't do it. Well, okay. Well, and because Baker and I have had that debate more than once, and I know I'm right, he's wrong. But since you guys aren't been living under a rock, and neither one of you commented, but like we haven't really watched Star Wars that much, so you can't contribute to
the first 7 movies were
to the-
enough for me. I
to
think.
contribute to
you
the
know.
debate. And
Listen,
stuff,
when
but it'll
Iron
always
Man
be,
died, I quit watching.
when Captain Kirk left, I don't. Yeah, whatever. So we'll skip over the debate. But the
No, you
the
guys
question,
can go ahead. I mean,
no, it doesn't because we've had this, and and my argument's always right. And his
Boba
is
Fett
not,
was
so-
always like my favorite character, though.
yeah.
I love that. So like the Mandalorian stuff's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
I'm
no,
in-
it
I'm
was
on
always
that,
a question like the best episode, best Star Wars and stuff, and
Yeah, no,
Baker's
the ones
a-
made in the 70s were definitely, with
Yeah.
the graphics and everything, the best.
because he likes the computer generated Yoda way better than
Just a 50-year-old
Yeah.
Star Wars
Yeah.
and a nice porchetta.
I like the
That's a day.
yeah. So Baker's at episode
So I'm
3.
guessing you're.
Yep.
He's episode 3,
Okay.
with the prequels, episode 3. I'm Saga, like the original,
The OGs?
So, the OG.
Okay,
so
I'm glad to
I'm
hear that.
either so my favorite like to watch is Jedi. If I had to pick one, it's Return of the Jedi.
Return of the
As,
Jedi.
that was
And so-
83. But otherwise, I mean, you go cinematically. Then it would be Empire because actually, and I make the argument say you Google like top 10 movies of all time, like it's like Gone with the Wind, Casablanca, Empire Strikes Back,
Well, you got
like pretty
you got
much. So.
Mel Brooks, John Candy. Who else is in that? It's a good movie.
Yeah. So like I said, you guys because you can't contribute as much, so we'll skip over.
What's
that.
your take? I want to hear it. I
Oh,
want to
just
hear.
episode 3.
Okay.
Well, you
got,
guys would go to premieres one, yeah?
Anakin.
Yeah, they dressed
becoming
up and everything.
Vader.
Sort of, but no, I may when the next episodes came out. So my kids, so I will say, so the Star Wars thing, it is kind of cool because, so growing up, it's so the first one came out in 77 or episode 4. Star Wars came out in 77, Empire is in 80, and then Jedi is in 83. So I was 3 years old when Empire came or when Jedi came out. I can remember seeing previews on TV for it. But the first Star Wars I actually saw was Empire. It was on TV one night and stuff. So I can remember watching it as a kid. I was at a friend's house watching it, and Dad came down to pick me up, and it was a friend that lived down the alley. We'd started watching it there, and it was between commercials because you couldn't pause live TV or, it was even pre-VCR, so it wasn't recorded. So it was like, okay, commercial. We hurried up, ran back to the house, and then finished watching it. But so I've been in love with Star Wars like ever since I was a little kid. Absolutely, just that's out of any movie franchise or any of that stuff. It's always been my favorite. So in the original, there's episodes 4, 5, and 6, and then of course the prequels came out. 1, 2, and 3. So, and then also they redid the original ones and re-released them in theaters and stuff. So my dad took us to see some of the re-releases in the theater of the original ones, and then going to the first three. But what was cool when 7, 8, or 8, 9, and 7, 8, and 9 came out is that now my kids growing up, being able to take them to the movie, so being able to like
there's some nostalgia, and
so like and my
that.
oldest, who absolutely fell in love with Star Wars too. I mean, to like, I can't even tell you all the stuff that he knows about everything.
Great
Star
marketing
Wars,
on their
everything
part.
Star Wars.
I mean,
yeah. But to be able to take my
that.
kids, so we actually did. So my kids, when we went to the episodes, 7, 8, 9 and stuff, they actually did, dress up. I think Judd had a one year was Chewbacca, had a Chewbacca costume. Remy dressed up as a Padawan, as a and we had lightsabers. Did the whole thing for those three, but we went out and saw them. So I don't know. To me, Star Wars is kind of a cool thing where here my dad was liked it. He took us to the theaters later on when they re-released them, because like I said, 83 was the last one. So and then being able to take my kids in too was, to me, it's kind of a cool thing. So, but and again,
all right. So because you guys never know if I'm BSing you or not, true or false? E.T. was in Star Wars. This is just for you two. E.T.
I wouldn't know that.
You know E.T.
Yeah, I know E.T. and Star Wars. I wouldn't know that though.
What do you say?
I would say no, he's not in Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen that on like here's a
Crazy
Hollywood
facts.
Minute type thing.
he is. Yeah.
Okay,
He's in episode 3.
He's got a bike.
you guys are such nerds. It's crazy to be in the presence.
No,
of this much
they're
nerddom.
in the Senate chambers, and it pans past a.
Oh, that's
pod
cool.
of-
A little Easter egg.
Little ETs. Yep.
What's the significance of like just because he's a terrestrial? Is that and you're dealing
Well,
with
if you go
space,
back-
or was like
He's extraterrestrial.
Yeah, so
I get that.
So
Thank you.
obviously, episode 3 would have been after the movie E.T.,
So
but
they're
it
saying
goes
this
back
happened.
to E.T. in that movie when they're out trick or treating, and some kid's dressed as Yoda, and he points to.
Oh,
him.
that's cool.
Points, yeah.
Like
Giving a
he
little
knows.
Yeah.
props to each other.
Yeah.
So then
Okay.
they put it in Star Wars.
Nice.
Yeah.
To acknowledge that they did it.
Yeah, like
Nice.
they're like, oh, right.
Anyways.
Okay, so we'll skip. We'll move on past that, because
Alright.
that could go on for the next. I
No,
don't
it
know
could
how
not.
long.
It was going to be done before that, but you
What a
kept
waste of
going,
time.
and I won't get that time back.
So let's.
Everyone just
okay.
shut us off
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Just be done.
Yeah.
Well,
Nerds,
speaking of, you
shut
guys,
it off.
you guys good? We keep going for a while. You guys need a break. You keep going. I'm good. You good? All right, let's keep going for a little while.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Um,
I gotta
okay.
go to Fleet Farm, so.
Oh wow, you got a big day, don't
So
you?
let's
Sorry.
let's talk
Man's
about
ball.
so back to the stuff at the firehouse, because we've hit on meals, and we've hit on some stories and stuff, different things. So what do you guys think? Because both all of us are ones that like to work out and stay in shape and stuff for things. So what do we think as far as either workout styles, or what do you think is like the best thing to keep you? So this is good for people that are aspiring to come on the fire service. You got the CPAT, you got to pass, and even just to keep yourself fit for duty going forward, because it is a physical job. And I think I think you're kidding yourself if you think you can do this job without maintaining some level of physical fitness, just because of the demands of the job, and to do your job that needs to be done. So what, as far as best, I don't know whether you call it workout style or so I mean, we could talk like I'm leg day, skipping leg day, or not doing about legs, and I'm just a gym bro, and I'm just going to do arms and chest all the time, and that's it, and call it good. The high, whether it's HIIT training or high, cardio or CrossFit style workout, powerlifting. I mean, what are your opinions as far as like, what do you think is best things for this job, or transitions into this job?
What do you ship? You're a firefighter athlete type. You kind of a big.
I don't want to.
opinion
I don't
on
think
that.
you should pigeonhole yourself in anything, for sure.
Mhm.
I think you should try different things. If you get so set into one thing, I mean, it can be good for you, obviously, right? But I'm big on doing different stuff all the time. I used to love the powerlifting stuff. I mean, I've always wanted to be an athlete, though. Like, if I had to go dunk on Ben today at the basketball court, I want to be able to make sure I can still do that.
Yeah.
Just job aside. But obviously, we all know how important our cardiovascular health is. And you can lift a certain way to build cardiovascular. I don't think you need to just run. I don't think you need to just do CrossFit. I think you need to encompass a whole myriad of all those types of things to be a true athlete or keep yourself healthy for a long time. I also think it's very like subjective for each person, and you have to do what works for you to just keep you moving. That's the biggest thing, I think, is you need to just do something. And I fell in love with, just trying to do athletic lifts or workouts. You love CrossFit, right, Phil? Baker, you just love going to the gym and doing your own thing, I'm sure, right? You don't pigeonhole yourself into one thing. Same with Ben, probably. You've done the rucks for the cavalry and the army, so that's something you like doing, is throwing some weight on and going out and hiking. But you do.
No, I do, yeah.
Because you do it.
Yeah,
Or you get like a Jason Davis. I got to go run for 48 hours straight up in the Grand Tetons or something, or the George Glasses. I got to go do a stair competition every other month or something.
Jason on talk about.
We got some studs on the department.
Yeah,
but I think everyone does their own thing, and as long as you do something, like we're talking about legends. Another reason why he's a legend, Rusty Sewell. That guy was a truck captain all the way up until he retired, and he could do the job arguably as good as anyone else, and was physically fit up and it still is, but his thing was watching, as long as he did something, he got in that weight room every day, whether it was lifting weights, going on the treadmill for a little bit, or stretching, which I am so guilty. I'm putting myself out on blast right now. If everyone stretched more, you automatically, the health benefits, you can read all the studies you want on that. Yeah. We need to do more of it. That's why I loved I personally loved the department yoga stuff. I think we should be doing that every day. If I become a lieutenant someday, if I get that privilege, I will throw it out to my crew every morning. Yeah. You guys want to go out and stretch for a little bit? Just because, it gets me in the right mindset and stuff that, anyway, I could talk for hours on this, but as long as you do something. And don't pigeonhole yourself into. Yeah, we were kind of talking about this today, where let's say you're just getting into working out and you get a program. That's great to have structure, obviously. Yep. But I think people can constrain themselves so much to a program where if I can't do that workout within this amount of time, I can't work out today.
Can't do anything. Yep.
As long as you do something, whether it's walking up the block and back. Yeah. Something. Yeah. That's my take on it.
I was going to touch on, you said about the CPAT. If for anyone that is testing, trying to become a career firefighter, get on an department, that CPAT's no joke. Yeah. It can humble you real quick. And I think if you're ever at a point where you're going into that day not 100% confidence that I can do it, then I'd consider that behind. And that's the one thing out of the whole process that's in your control is your physical fitness, being ready for the CPAT. So best way to train for it. Do it. I mean, do the best. Do the stair mills. Go longer than 3 minutes. Have yourself going 10 minutes. Yep. You can do that. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and just that, but I like to reiterate what Chip's saying too with the variety and the doing stuff. So, I could say that I was working out for a long time and always being, athlete, wanted to do physical things and stuff, sports and different things. I've done all kinds of over the years and stuff. I was in my teens and stuff. I was a cyclist. I would race, junior race and stuff. So I was doing that all the time. But then also lifeguarding, teaching some weightlifting classes at the Y and stuff. So but really, so then I was, I wouldn't skip leg day, but I was riding, I was doing all that stuff. But I need to build power in my legs going forward. Then starting breaking legs and busting stuff up, and then really I skipped leg day for like 15 years, so to speak. And then got back kind of like CrossFit kind of got me back into the legs and working lower bodies and stuff. And now as we get older, I rode crew when I was at Creighton and stuff, and fell in love with rowing because that was just the physical exertion that gives you without the impact on the knees and stuff. That's such a total. So even now I still have a Concept 2 at home and love getting on the road. If my knees are hurting, hips are hurting, because I tell you what, it's not so much age as it is that I feel it's mileage on your body, right? And I've put hard miles on my body. I didn't listen to my body in my younger years, and if I could give any advice to guys in their 20s and people coming on this job and doing stuff, is listen to your body better. That active recovery days are important. Stretching is important. Rest days are important. I never listen. I would rub dirt on it and go forward, and now, getting into my 40s and stuff, that I can tell you when the weather's changing, because I'll be like, my knees just feel horrible, or, it takes, I can have great workout days and still still pound a bunch of 20-year-olds into the dirt. I'm going to pay for it for a couple of days. My recovery time's a little bit longer, but now it's transitioned even from the, just strictly CrossFit stuff and to do just more traditional weightlifting days. My knees hurt and stuff. So I can use the rower a lot more and not bang up the knees. Walking every day, and Johansson, he does a lot of the rucking now too. But I tell you what, to do a ruck like that, to throw even just 20 pounds on, or like my weight vest at the station, so I'll put on my 20 pounds. I'll go walk 3 miles just around the station every night. Takes, under an hour. Yep. But I tell you what, when you get to a certain age, you burn way more fat. That way you can still build stamina stuff so that, this job, it's so different. It's where some of the high intensity interval stuff we have to not only train ourselves and our bodies to be able to do that absolute red line sprint for, we just did the Mayday training, right? Yeah. And how much did we have to be able to and that's where that sprint that just you're going and stuff, but then being able to recover from that, and then still, because that's not all the time in a fire, no. Right? That might be the first 10 minutes, okay? Just this mass exertion, but now you still got another 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, and you might have little exertions through here. So it's thinking about how we can train our bodies and stuff in our minds to be able to do that. And so I think it's not just necessarily one discipline. I think anything workout that you do that's functional, like with functional movements and stuff that can give you good range of motion and strengthen your core and stuff and anything to protect ourselves, because like I said, getting older, to still be able to compete at a high level against that's my main, that's what my goal. One of my things is that I don't want to, I still want to be able to beat the 20-year-olds and 20-somethings and
by beat you
make them
outwork.
Yes, outwork. I want to be the hardest working guy and to be able to on the fire ground and to keep going and not stop. I don't want to be the guy that's after 10 minutes you're spent because you're that old captain that's just like you're done. No, I'm going to use myself up, and when I'm 55, I'm out. And I hope that I can still be, after that, still be in good enough shape that I can enjoy my retirement.
I think that's the biggest thing right there is do it for yourself, do it for your family, so when you do walk away from the career,
you can walk away.
You can enjoy the retirement.
Literally walk away.
Yeah.
Enjoy the retirement you deserve.
But take care of yourself when you're younger, because like I said, I didn't, and that's why I end up, shoulder surgery, a torn pec, knees that are garbage and just beat up, couple busted legs. I mean, it's, over the years, like it adds up as you get down. So I rushed recovery times, and shouldn't have, and paying the price for it now. I mean, all this stuff and listening to your body. If it hurts, if your body's telling me, hey, I hurt, I was always one, just push through it. You can finish this workout and then rest and stuff. And, your mindset, like I said, as you get older, it changes a little bit.
I just don't want to be a liability to anyone else that I work with, for sure. Because, if I'm the guy that causes someone to have to, work their ass off at a fire to try and help me out because I decided to let myself go, or, what I'm trying to say,
right,
just anything.
Yep.
Or, I pushed it too hard today in the weight room.
Yep.
Now I'm someone else's problem.
Yeah.
I'm big on that too. I know enough guys on the job right now that I know they're putting the work in on their off days, and if they don't get it totally in, as long as they're moving around,
right,
doing their 1 hour PT, but in a reasonable thing for them, I'm good to just see guys walking or doing whatever they want to do, because the last thing I want to do is spend myself and then those tones drop and you're like, oh boy, I messed up.
Just done.
So what is the toughest thing you guys think we do on the fire ground that tires you out the quickest? I know for me, pulling ceiling, my shoulders.
There's a definite way to do it too. It's an art, but we run in our gears heavier now.
Yep.
We're carrying more crap on us. It's just the nature of the job. We have to now with manpower and all that.
I don't know.
Construction.
Yeah, I would agree with overhaul stuff.
Overhauls probably.
Because, and I think, and maybe, and whether it's because, if you're on initial attack line, which that's carrying that hose, crawling, doing all that stuff, but you got so much more of an adrenaline kick, I think, that, and you're fresh, and you got that adrenaline rush. I think, it almost feels easier. But later on in a fire, a few hours in, when we get to that overhaul stage, I'm pulling ceiling or moving stuff out of the way. And that's just that motion of just doing that.
I'll tell you where I'm feeling it more now as a driver. And I do end up making it in for overhaul after the initial stuff's done. I'm running my butt off those first 10 minutes like everyone else.
Yeah.
But now it's like, all right, now I got to go in and go on air and do some overhaul. I'm like, whew.
Yeah. Well,
Gut
I
check
think
time, buddy.
Yeah, well, and some of that I think it's too when you're. So if I'd like to almost on the fire stay moving. Because you stay loose, you stay warmed up. Yep. It's like when you get to rest too long, and rehab is important. I mean, granted, but then it's like you got to warm back up, and you almost get that lactic acid built up, and then you're like, you're just go back and you're like, and then you feel like you're really sucking wind, pulling ceiling stuff. But the same thing. In the truck, you run around doing stuff, and then you got some downtime. Your body kind of goes into like rest, recovery. And all of a sudden, put your gear on, come in and do stuff, and you're like, the first little bit until you get your body, get in past, get to that point and that stuff, and then then you can settle in and go, and you kick in anaerobic. Your body goes anaerobic because it's just sucking.
That's why you got to do a mixture of everything.
Yeah. I think some of us are we get to a point almost that we're in good enough shape that for a fire, like we'd almost be better. We would do better in a fire if we were able to go run a mile or 2 miles before we got to the fire ground.
Like a true warm up.
Just to get your body warmed up good, that you would be able to perform really good then. But I think, you get off that adrenaline rush, your body kicks in anaerobic right away, and you're just sucking wind just so hard. Not that you're out of shape. It's just you're in too good a shape that your body is starving for oxygen.
Another topic to bring up, my sister just gave me a book. It's called Breathe. It's all about breathing. Mm-hmm. And how to control your not that I've done like the air management stuff. I went through those classes, and I think like especially training with George Glass doing the stair climbs, that gets you to really think about your breathing and what it truly feels like to suck that mask to your face with no air left.
Yep.
So I've done that, but it's just to reset everything. You can manually restart your body if you want to, just through breathing technique. And I'm excited to get
that gal that did the firefighter yoga and stuff. That was how much did she
controlling your breathing,
and how much did she hammer on that stuff and stuff, and putting you in an uncomfortable position, making it hard to breathe there, but then making you mentally control that.
Where you forget about the pain or forget about the because you're focused on breathing and
that's good. Stress relief.
I think it's just in the summer when it gets hot, you get some hot days. You can be in shape, bad shape. That heat will come for you pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
I always found that to be the hardest.
And like going to rehab on those days, the hot days, I feel like you're like a new person when you come out of rehab just for that little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd much rather fight them on the hot days than the cold days anymore. Because once you're cold, you're cold, and then if you get warm and then have to go back out in the cold, you don't go to rehab. You just don't. You can't. Yeah. Right.
No. Well, what were you gonna say, Rob? You look like you might add something.
Pondering.
You look like you want an Arby's roast beef sandwich.
You're looking like you're hungry for an Arby's brisket.
I was going to. I don't remember.
You lost it. Well, and all that stuff too. Going out to Baker's Acres, they're playing the paintball. You could tell, like, if you're, that's a different mentality. But I tell you what, running up and down the hills at his place and stuff, and then, that can make you suck it when it's sweat.
That'll make you think. No.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Like you're trying to be quiet and you're sitting there.
I know. With that mask, you're gonna like lift the face, lift the shield up a little bit just to like catch your breath.
The initial walk up to the top of the hill.
Oh, that's
like
the
worst.
Yet. That's the worst one. Is that initial walk up, and then after that, you get warmed up and you're loose, and you're like, okay, now I'm sweating and good. But that first walk up the hill,
I think like
horrible.
Like
so I always love when Toby comes. As you walk in, you see him with his mask up, holding a gun in a beer, just walking in the middle of the battlefield. He's like arms marshal or something. Like just. But like going back to the fire thing, I think like when we have to do the really cool stuff like attack or fire attack or like pulling someone out or down firefighter thing, your brain just kicks into a whole new level of like adrenaline during those times where I don't think you do feel shot during that at all.
Yeah.
And maybe, having done that stuff, it's like in the moment you don't, but when that dump comes, it comes hard.
Yeah.
And you're like, I am done.
Yeah.
When I was on probation, every time we'd get something, because you're so nervous. I'd get dry mouth so bad.
Yeah.
I couldn't swallow.
That's that fight or flight, man.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're on. I still get it. I mean, I still get that bump when I can feel it, because I can feel it if it's our district, it's Fort Tapp.
Oh, yeah,
and it sounds like it comes in as fire or structure fire, where like dude, we're going to Jobtown. Like I still get that bump where I'm putting on my gear and I saw something, my breathing is picking up. I'm going,
like, wait a minute.
and like the heart rate's going up. I'm like,
Settle
just
down.
chill.
Yeah.
Let's control that. You don't need to be like have a heart rate of 200 before we, right when we step off the rig, and then you just kind of settle in. But yeah, it's still a thing. Probation, like you're constantly, like you're just every little tone you're going like. Phew.
The day starts off with you.
Yeah,
your adrenaline just. You got it. Those guys, if I had monitored my heart back then, it had to have been just like hovering at 110, 120 the whole time. Just constant.
Nice. Yeah. All right. So let's go. How about one more? I don't know. One more topic, two more topics. How are we doing?
One more.
One more?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's.
I gotta get an Arby's brisket sandwich.
Brisket sandwich. Okay. Just because we're gonna come back to one of our first.
No.
Yeah.
I bet I could have 7 in 20 minutes.
I bet you couldn't. I bet you couldn't.
What's kind of hot because it would like if you had the state like the Vegas dogs, like the big or the Nathan's Vegas dogs, like the really big ones.
I just don't.
So that I would say 7 and 20. But if you're talking like ballparks or something,
I don't think I can love myself after eating 7 hot dogs in 20 minutes.
Do you know how many calories are in those things? It's like that's like. Yeah,
what are they made out of? Lips and.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
Brisket.
So that's how
Brisket
Arby's
hot
gets their
dogs.
brisket from. They're hot dogs, briskets.
All right. Just because I know, well, Ben, we've opened his mind a little bit, and we did make reference to the greatest match ever, but just as a general discussion, because these are discussions that we have, and that's what this episode was a little bit different than our traditional one where we've had guys. So you guys, we did get to know us a little bit about how we kind of got here in our history stuff, but a lot of it, this episode, we kind of want to just have like the actual kitchen table discussions and stuff, the things that we actually talk about at the kitchen table. Sometimes as ridiculous, and this isn't even scratching the surface of the ridiculousness that can happen at the firehouse and how off the rails and just I can't even tell you where some of these discussions go, but the laughs and the relationships we build and stuff, and we've talked about the kitchen, how important it is. So
That's
something that we
7 hot dogs.
Yeah, so but something we do talk about with some of us are fans of professional wrestling. So I think we just have a discussion of either let's start with this first. How about your wrestling Mount Rushmore?
Oof.
So top
3 names.
Dan Gable.
3? I like 3.
Top 3. Yeah, your wrestling.
Dan Gable. It's the only wrestler I know. Hold on, no, I'll be back. It'd be Dan Gable, Derek Bailey, Justin Thompson, and the Macho Man Randy Savage. There's 4 wrestlers.
Okay.
Your Ship. What do you think? Your Mount Rushmore for professional wrestling, whether it's what they did for the industry or like skills or whatever, new guys, old guys, it doesn't matter. Mount Rushmore.
Randy Savage, Hulkster. 3?
4.
Or did we say 4?
4
Ric Flair.
Yep.
And Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah,
those were the biggest game changers for me.
I would say Hulk just because what he did. Stone Cold for what he did for wrestling in the 90s. Ric Flair because legend.
Ric Flair.
I have a hard one with there's so many you could put fourth because I could go with Undertaker because of legend status.
Man, that's just hard.
Shawn Michaels for being greatest in-ring performer of the time. Randy Savage for what he did for the industry too.
Dude, I'm even a Triple H guy. I'm gonna go with. Boy, because you could even throw an Eddie Guerrero in there, but I think I'm gonna go. That's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Undertaker. I'm glad you did that. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with
Sorry
Undertaker
about
for
that.
my Mount Rushmore.
But
Ric Flair's trash.
Well, you got a death wish, don't you?
Yeah.
As God is my witness,
Stone Cold,
you will die.
Because you look at everything that they brought to it. Kurt Angle, I thought, just the skits and stuff like that he
personality,
the personality
that was huge.
Yep. And also like a real wrestler, and then
skills,
very very talented, very skilled wrestler.
Yeah. If you look at big matches and just the size of him, Brock Lesnar, I think and playing football and MMA and that. And I don't know that he's one of the greatest, but he was always kind of fun to watch. But
yeah, it's your Rushmore. It's not ours.
Hogan was trash. That leg drop was dumb, but Macho Man could cut the best promos.
Oh,
Dude,
that dude could cut a
second to
promo
none.
like.
But
so,
but I'm like the Ultimate Warrior. Just
dude,
his
he could cut a promo like
that
none
guy
other.
makes me want to run through a brick wall whenever
for
I see
real.
him. I'm like, just play one of those.
Yeah,
I'll go to any fire
I
anywhere.
will punch somebody in the face
I
and
need-
then like go
That's
squat 400 pounds
For
like
sure.
right
In this
now.
coat,
Yeah.
Just done. Yeah, I would say. Okay, so that's our Mount Rushmores. Okay, so how about then let's do like your greatest tag team that
Okay.
either existing, like you could just pick a tag team, or who would you put together as like personality wise greatest tag team, and then we can make because you can make arguments against why those guys wouldn't work together good. This poor Ben is like
So I don't
he's got nothing.
I don't
That's
even
okay,
know.
man.
I don't.
Go home and just
I would go
binge
toss
some
that fight.
Yeah.
wrestling.
So anyone that could just do the whole fight by themselves. Oh no, I'd probably pick someone from the Plymouth County Fair in the WrestleMania booth. That's probably where my knowledge goes to.
Yeah,
So
that's fine.
anyone willing to come?
I'd go Undertaker and Kane just because they're
Dude.
so big. That,
That's a pretty
That's big.
yeah.
It's a lot of man in that
too big.
ring.
yeah, and without being like too big, because somebody
Here's-
might say
here's
because
what I
somebody
got.
might say like a Hogan, Randy Savage. However,
That's
those personalities were too big by the to
I
put
agree.
together. Those are not two people you could put together.
Mega powers, mega
Yeah.
power.
Okay, so real quick, Kane.
I would like to see Kane with Rey Mysterio on his shoulders walking in the ring.
Kane.
That would be awesome.
See
Yep.
how true of fans you are. What was his name?
Oh
What
man,
was
I
his-
just knew this.
What was
I
his
watched this.
character before Kane?
I watched
this
this
his
A&E.
character before Kane.
Yeah.
Abel.
No. God, he was like, wasn't he like? I don't know if it was the executioner or something. He's a mayor now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, I
Um,
just watched this A&E
I
not too
know.
long ago
That's
too.
what I'm like,
That sucks.
yeah.
He was a dentist.
The Menace?
A dentist.
dentist?
Not dentist.
Oh, okay.
Isaac Yankum.
Was that really
Mhm.
Isaac
Jeez.
Yankum?
Yep, Isaac
He's a
Yankum,
dental?
DDS.
DDS?
Yeah.
Man.
Wow. That is
Anyways.
fantastic.
Oh,
This is Baker that's talking
love
to you
it.
guys.
the page. Why am I DDP?
Oh, yeah. Diamond
Another
Dallas.
guy. Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
Mm.
So tag teams. Oh, see, well, yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
if
we're
tag
Don't
teams,
say the
that's
Rockers.
part of it.
That's stupid.
Well, okay, no. So if I
He's
was
gonna
gonna
say
pick
the
like,
Rockers.
if I was gonna just pick that's what I was gonna say was the Rockers. If I was gonna pick a tag team that was already established, to me that they were one of the greatest. That was one of the greatest tag teams, just in ability and dynamics.
you don't
was
like
Rockers.
HBK and Triple H? Heartbreak Kid and Triple H?
No.
No.
No,
Shawn
it's
Michaels and
Shawn
Triple
Michaels,
H?
Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, man, come on, they were like
What's up?
it's such a Well, so DX is a
I think
as a
there's so many
stable,
videos
like,
going around of me in
Degeneration
sixth
X.
grade to my friends for no reason
Yeah.
doing the sucker.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
dude.
we did, dude. Because I lived through the Monday
Still do
Night
it.
Wars.
I know
like
you
I
did.
lived through it. So we were back and forth between Nitro and DX. It's DX and the NWO and stuff. Like, I mean, it was both back and forth and stuff. But because then you had the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, badass Billy Gunn,
Billy
Road
Gunn.
Dogg, the New Age Outlaws. They were a fantastic tag team and stuff. But
I-
if I was,
I feel sorry for whoever.
if
doesn't
I was
know what
going
we're
to
talking
pure
about. You need to
pure
go,
pure tag team, to me it was the Rockers, just in pure dynamics and their teamwork and stuff. If I was going to pick one together to put a tag team together, that's
we didn't even talk
actually
about
really hard to do.
Goldberg either, though. That
No.
was huge for me as a
I
kid.
mean, I'm just looking at how weak that is compared to Legion of Doom. They would
Legion of Doom
They would-
was top notch.
Whatever, Demolition could take out Legion and Doom.
Legion of Doom.
All right, and with
That's
I'm going
Axis, Axis
Ben's
Smash.
going to Arby's, everyone.
Yeah. All right.
Best brisket
Good
in town.
enough.
You heard it here
That's all I
first.
got.
Is that all you got?
Yep. No one. They quit listening after Star Wars. So.
You right?
We don't even need an outro.
No.
It was like
Oh,
done.
Just cut it off in the
Just-
middle of the
just-
sentence.
Be done. Arby's sandwiches. You can tell them.
Yeah, drop the tones right.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.